is Hamilton Community Ice Arena in Columbus, Indiana. One of the newest buildings in the FPHL, and I'm Will Wiggleman here with you. Thanks so much for joining us on New Year's Eve. One of the final things you'll do in 2025 is watch some Prowlers hockey. I hope you're okay with that. I'm certainly okay with it. I'm very excited to bring this one to you as the Prowlers and the Sentinels face off for the first of 3 meetings this week. Tonight here in Indiana, and then Friday and Saturday in Port Huron. Now, Sentinels are one of the teams that the Prowlers actually have a losing record against this year. They've lost 3 of their 5 meetings against the Sentinels, including Indiana's only sweep this season. That was the last time the Prowlers and Sentinels faced off at McMorran Place. But the Prowlers are now on a 4-game winning streak and look a lot better than they had the last time these teams matched up. We'll see if they can get one more W before the end of 2025. We'll have much more for you coming up on the pregame show next. You're watching Port Huron Prowlers hockey on the PHP Network.
Welcome to the new era of Prowlers hockey. New owner, new store, new horn, fire, projectors on the ice. Yeah, this isn't your dad's McMorran experience. This is Prowlers hockey. Get your tickets for the show now at phprowlers.com/tickets.
Keep up with your Prowlers all season long on social media. Follow us on Facebook at the Port Huron Prowlers, Instagram at PH Prowlers, and Twitter at PH Prowlers. And you can find more information on our website, phprowlers.com.
Welcome back here to Hamilton Community Ice Arena as the Prowlers get set for their first ever game in Columbus, Indiana. First time Prowlers are visiting the Sentinels. Not the last time, though, but we will get to those matchups later on this season. It should be an exciting one tonight. Once again, Happy New Year. Hope everyone is enjoying their New Year's Eve festivities, and we're just glad that we're able to be a part of it for some of you back at home. But before we get to tonight's game, let's take a look back at the last game for these two teams, starting with the last game for the Sentinels, and that was here in this building, a close 5-4 loss to the Blue Ridge Bobcats, as these teams ended up splitting their 2-game weekend set here in Indiana. But Nick Stuckless had a 4-point night. Dennis Radchenko scored the only goal of the third period. That was the winner, as the Bobcats snapped a 5-game losing skid. But the Sentinels offense, certainly something to be excited about right now if you're an Indiana fan. They've scored 4 or more goals in 7 straight games, a team that had struggled to score goals earlier on this season, as Ryan Glazer and Nolan Dawson, 2 guys that are big parts of that, they had multi-point nights as well. On the other side for the Prowlers, well, they have won 4 straight games, and their defense is what's been helping them, as they have given up 2 or fewer goals in each of their last 3, and that includes the 4-1 win over the Danbury Hat-Tricks on Sunday. As Vinny DeCumbis had a 3-point night, Bobby Price a goal and an assist, as that line has really been huge. Those 2 along with Blake Anderson. Of course, that game was a rescheduled contest from December the 26th. It's supposed to be a Friday game. Ended up being Sunday afternoon due to weather. Bailey Huber played probably what was his best game as a pro in that one. 27 saves to outduel Sebastian Resar. And the Prowlers have really done a great job against the Hat-Tricks offense this season. 4 total goals for Danbury in 4 games against Port Huron this year. We take a look at the standings, and, well, those games had impacts on the bottom part of the division, as the Blue Ridge Bobcats jumped ahead of the Danbury Hat-Tricks and the Watertown Wolves into 4th place in the Empire Division last weekend. Prowlers were also beneficiaries of another series, as the Topeka Scarecrows got swept by the Continental Division's Monroe Moccasins, and that means that the Scarecrows now 10 points back of the Prowlers after Port Huron won its games in Danbury. And the Scarecrows still do have 5 games in hand on Port Huron, but it's now a 10-point difference between those two teams for that second spot in the Empire. And it seems like it's just going to be a battle for second place in that division with the way the Binghamton Black Bears have run away with things early. 23-2 through their first 25 games this season. Don't count out the Sentinels just yet, as those teams down near the bottom 4 through 7 have really struggled at different times this year, and Indiana is just 11 points out of that final playoff spot. Yes, they'll have to jump a few teams, but it's still within the realm of possibility. Over 30 games left for all of these teams, 32 left for Indiana. So should be a very interesting run if the Sentinels can get themselves on a roll and continue to pick up points, although Prowlers hoping this is not the weekend for that. Let's take a look at who to watch for in this one. We start with the Indiana Sentinels, and Denver Craig has been a big part of this offense for Indiana. 17 points over his 10-game point streak on 8 goals and 9 assists. On the other side for the Prowlers, we talked about their defense, and we want to focus on a guy who is not necessarily the biggest point producer for the Prowlers, but Brian Parsons is plus 12 this season. One of the top guys in the plus-minus department, tied with Vinny DeCumbis there at the top. Through 25 games this season, he's been a steady presence on the back end for Port Huron. As the referees are hitting the ice, Prowlers getting set to hit the ice as well. As you see from Aiden Vision, Reed Cooper going to lead his team out there. Let's take a look at the lineup for tonight's game, and everything staying the same again as far as the forwards and defensemen are concerned. Cooper between the pipes, and Jamison Bork back in as the backup netminder. Bailey Huber getting the night off again after his great game on Sunday in Danbury. As we await the teams to hit the ice, want to tell you about Meyer and the Prowlers partnering for the Goals for Good program. For every goal the Prowlers score this season, Meyer will help donate meals to families in need in our community. So far this year, the Prowlers and Meyer have helped deliver over 4,500 meals to families in need. Lights are down, and the players waiting patiently to hit the ice. And here we go, Reed Cooper leading the visiting Prowlers out there right now. And this seems as opportune a time as any to take a look at who will be starting this game for the Port Huron Prowlers, as the Sentinels hitting the ice as well. So we take a look at our Orthopedic Associates starting lineup. It will be Price DeCumbis and Brett Morick getting the start. Brian Parsons and Brett Lockhart on defense. And Reed Cooper, as we mentioned, between the pipes. And, Brett Morick has been used as this starting winger despite being the extra forward a lot over these past few games. Associate head coach Chris Paulin likes putting him out there to start games, kind of set the tone. He's always getting into little battles and matches with whoever he's lined up with on the wing, and that's a good thing to see for the Prowlers, again, to have a guy like Brett Morick who can bring that nastiness, that physicality, and set the tone early. So he slots in Blake Anderson's spot, at least for shift number 1 here tonight. Let's take you down to ice level for tonight's national anthem here from Columbus.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, if you're able, would you please rise and remove your hats for the singing of our national anthem, sung by Anna Kruger. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early
And that is the anthem here tonight at Hamilton Community Ice Arena here in Columbus, Indiana. Prowlers and Sentinels getting set to go. The Sentinels wearing special ugly sweater-themed jerseys tonight. In case you missed our pregame open, I'm actually down in the corner, down in John Werber's end, to the left side of the camera angle that you're currently seeing. And so when the play is down on the other end, hi everybody. When play's down at the other end, I apologize if I don't get all the players correct, but we will do our best tonight. Again, here in Columbus, getting set to go. Let's take a look at our starting goaltending matchup. It will be Reed Cooper and John Werber tonight, the two starters for their respective clubs. Cooper still tied for the FPHL lead with 12 wins this season. He picked up one of those victories last weekend against the Hat Tricks. Werber, 4-7-1, 407 goals against average, and an .892 save percentage, 31 saves in the loss to the Blue Ridge Bobcats last Saturday. Ashton Colazzo's line out there to begin for the Indiana Sentinels. He will draw with Vinny DeCumbus. And for the first time ever, the Port Huron Prowlers will be underway from Columbus, Indiana. Thanks so much for joining us here on the PHP Network. It's tossed in, puck swatted over to the sideboards. Slid along, Vladislav Pavlov got it out to Colazzo. Looking right off the gut, quick shot sticked away by Cooper. Tossed out of the zone, or only as far as the blue line, kept in by Pavlov. He's all the way around to the bench's side. Tossed out by Lockhart. Slides down towards Werber, and it hit the post as Werber put his pad down. That was a little bit closer than I'm sure the Sentinels would have liked. Either way, they move back up the right wing side. It's Dawson firing it around. Lockney waited for it on the other side, chopped it ahead to R2 Hakela. Out comes Matt Graham. Prowler's leader in goals, has scored in his last 4. Tim Morgan taps it down deep. Graham tried to go back around up top, cut off by Denver Craig. Oregon, headman feed towards Hakela, tipped in by Graham. He and Romeo Terrain head after it together. Graham fed it back down low. Taken in was Marion Pazika as he moved the puck. And sent ahead to Craig. Long range try, waffle boarded by Cooper. Up out of play, and we get our first whistle. Just under a minute and a half into this one. Faceoff will be down in Cooper's end. Prowlers going with the Bucell line. And it's Jamie Bucell, Luke James, and Connor Bazal. Bucell will draw against Jonas Leas. Jawan Davis on Leas's left. This is Davis's 3rd game as an Indiana Sentinel. That quick shot towards the net wouldn't go, and James skates into the puck. Tried an indirect feed towards Bazal, cut off. Alex Johnson wheels back with it. Favaro all the way up to James, tips it in. Lands in the near side corner. Richard Colarusso slides it up the boards. Dalton Anderson wearing number 92 tonight with the specialty jerseys. Got it out of the zone. Prowlers looking to go right back in. Lockhart tried to go over to Parsons, out of his reach. Colarusso looking for a teammate fresh off the bench. Colazzo, right wing side. Long chance. Stopped by Cooper. Rebound collected by Port Huron. Parsons wheels ahead. Left wing side. Looking for a passing option. His feet didn't get all the way through. James took a hard hit there from Pavlov. Price pulls it off the board. Sharp angle try. Werber got a piece. And the net came off its moorings. That's the reason for the whistle, which you got to hear loud and clear with the referee right underneath our crowd mic. You see the chants there from Price. And I make another cameo appearance on the PHP Network. This might be the most camera time I ever get on this show. Graham on the draw back. Federle tried to swipe at the puck. But instead moving out is James Ryerson, number 11. Sent it in off the back glass. Pavlov keeps the puck deep. Federle behind the net. Steps out. Now he'll move ahead. Federle gets the red line, gets the Indiana blue. Sent it in on Werber, who made the stop. Trying to go back in front, nobody home. Oregon down and around towards Graham. Puck stuck in the referee's skates. Lockney comes in to help out. Graham and Pavlov digging away. Lockney comes up with the puck. All the way across to Federle. Walks the blue line, sent it through, save, rebound, and another stop by Werber. As Matt Graham was right there. Austin Federle got a good shot through, and Matt Graham lacking away. Trying to extend his goal streak to 5, currently at 4, the longest by a Prowler this season. Off this face-off, Terrain. Tried to rim it ahead. Comes back to him. Pazika throws on the brakes. Back around to Ethan Esposito. He turned it over. A drive, change direction. Werber able to make the save. As Favaro let it go from the point, it hit somebody on the way through. Sentinels got the first 3 shots of the game. Prowlers have the last 5. They get another offensive zone face-off. Off this draw, Terrain bumps it around this side. Craig ahead. Out it to Esposito. Lockhart tries to push it back the other direction. Now he'll skate with it. Left wing side, Bazal has help going to the net. Got to Bucell. He shoots and a save. Rebound! And Werber slid out to make the stop. Bucell lost the handle. Here comes Pazika, chased by James. Terrain skates into the loose puck. Gets to the offensive zone, shot blocked. Prowlers trying to work it out. James able to skate it. Gets to the red line, dumps it in. And the Prowlers finishing up a change. Pazika, right wing side, Jawan Davis. Davis from the outside, played it off the backboards. Anderson, that's Dalton Anderson along with Lucas Lockney battling for that puck. Shot from the point by Tracy, stopped and gathered back in by Reed Cooper. We got a whistle and a face-off deep in Prowler territory. Still scoreless early on in Indiana. And see, here's the chance for Jamie Bucell. And it was Luke James who got the rebound. And Werber slid out with the left pad. Not sure if that was going to go on goal or not. May have been heading towards the side of the cage. Here comes Lockney. Outside try, kicked out by Werber. Lockney again cycled it up towards Hakala. Tried to push it right back deep, but ran to Colarusso. Davis working with Colarusso, gave it back to him. Juwan Davis taken out of the play by Austin Federle as he slid it on net. Both teams will make changes ahead of this face-off down in Cooper's territory. In case you may be a little bit late to the stream tonight because the FPHL website still says this game is beginning at 9:30 p.m. Welcome here in Columbus, Indiana. Prowlers and Sentinels, first time they're matching up here in Indiana. The Sentinels won 3 of the first 5 meetings this season. Columbus tried to sweep it to the middle, fighting through a check. Bumped out by Pavlov. Got pass for Dawson. He was hit hard by a Prowler. Port Huron looking for a counter, but Palazzo came back to pick off the pass. Favaro sweeps into the puck. Anderson, Blake Anderson almost spun down, went across to Johnson. And then Johnson fanned on a pass. He's upended. Here's the Sentinels with a chance, and Cooper able to make a save. Morick over to Johnson. This time he gets an outlet for Bucell. Into the offensive zone, throws on the brakes, looking across towards Morick. Couldn't connect. Gazal pushed it up this way. Craig and Bucell come together. Hippolyte Smith runs into Morick. Bucell has the puck now. Bucell driving the net. Morick shot pushed it just wide. At the top, Lockhart looking for some room. Slid it down towards Morick. On his backhand. Over to Parsons. Head up, walks in, tipped up into the ceiling and out of play by Lucas Lockney. And we will get our first timeout. Prowlers and Sentinels still scoreless. Just under 6 minutes gone in the Munger Physical Therapy first period.
This isn't working. LJ, pass me those flyers. No look behind the back pass. It's a hope play. LJ, come on. Gap up. Close the gap. Close the gap. What are we saying? This isn't working. We need a shift change. Let's bring in the professionals.
Hello, I'm home.
There he is.
What is happening?
Relax. We won. They brought back the snack wrap. Spicy or ranch?
Spicy.
Yeah, go. Yeah. Just one little bite.
Can you stop?
Oh, sorry.
Gather your crew. Snack Wrap is back.
Back here in Indiana, we'll take a look at our lead electric replay and the chance here for Brett Morick as Bucelle sent it across and Morick just didn't get a great touch on it, pushed it wide, but good turnover by the Prowlers in the offensive zone. Port Huron sending out the top line for this offensive zone draw. Matt Graham will take it against Noah Hippolyte-Smith. Graham tried to push it back to the point. Instead, it's Esposito trying to toss it out. The puck ends up out of play. Faceoff will be right back where it was. Referees tonight, Chris Hoy and Cody Lang. The linesmen, Scott Gillespie and Dominic Iravante. Hippolyte-Smith wins it back this time. Colin Tracy tosses it only as far as Artu Hakala. Sentinels able to force it out of the zone. And Esposito on his dump attempt hit somebody on the Prowler bench. So we'll get another whistle and another face-off. Looks like this face-off will be deep inside Port Huron's end. Can't tell who that hit, but off the draw, Indiana able to dump it around. Favaro gets there first for Port Huron. Price had his touch pass go awry. Working back was Esposito. Colarusso, headman feed off of Craig's skate. Price couldn't find that puck. And here comes Craig wheeling up. Denver Craig had knocked off his stick neatly by Vinny DeCumbis. Craig still battling for that puck. Blake Anderson takes over. He spins back. Johnson ahead to DeCumbis. From the outside, sent it over to the far corner. Ponovanov up to Vlasov Pavlov. Turned it over almost to Lockney. Pushed up the boards. Craig across to Davis. Working on Favaro, left the puck behind. Sentinels have to regroup. Ponovanov back to Pavlov. Off the boards, and Favaro settles down for the Prowlers. They try and work up. Graham off to Lockney. Walking the blue line, hooking towards the net. Nice move by Lockney. Lockney gets to the corner and plays it behind the cage where Pavlov takes it away. Hakala knocks Pavlov down. Up comes Davis with it. Anderson try to make a pass off. That's a turnover. Here comes Lockhart working in. He shoots. Punched out by Werber. Delayed penalty coming up against Indiana. And the Prowlers will get the first power play of the game. With 12:10 to go in period one, the Port Huron man advantage will get its first opportunity. I didn't see what the call was. Well, maybe too many men on the ice. You saw a Sentinel jumping back on the bench frantically there during that replay. So it might be too many men. Prowlers power play that was 0 for 11 last weekend against Danbury. Let's see if we can count the Sentinels. There's 3 there to the right. And 1, 2, 3 there on the left. So yep, too many men on the ice. Good catch by our crew back in McMorran Place. Austin Federley quarterbacking this power play over to Johnson, and now Graham. Back up top, Federley's shot partially blocked by a stick. Graham down to Lockney. Bucell right in front. Lockney tosses it up the far boards. Johnson pinches in. Here comes Terrain shorthanded. A couple Prowlers back, so Terrain throws it right in on Cooper. Port Huron already switching up the unit. 30 seconds gone on their man advantage. James Ryerson serving the too many men on the ice penalty for the Sentinels. Federley trying to go end to end, throws on the brakes. Centering feed ends up with Price. Hakala working down the wall. Federley tried to poke it back up top. Here comes Collazo, short-handed. Price trying to chase him down. Collazo shot stop. Rebound, they score. Ashton Collazo gets his own rebound, and the shorty opens the scoring. Fifth of the year for Ashton Collazo as the Prowlers turned it over high in the zone. Cooper made the first save, but Collazo able to grab it again and from a sharp angle put it home. Third shorthanded goal of the year for the Sentinels, 4th that the Prowlers have allowed this season. See if they can get something done on this power play to keep it even. Graham has to hustle back after that puck after Favaro missed the pass. Port Huron having trouble escaping its own end. Favaro drops for Graham. Ahead to Alex Johnson. Off to Lockney. Tried to spin it back, didn't get anything on it. Another shorthanded rush for Indiana, but Favaro took it off of Dalton Anderson's stick. Lockney looking towards Favaro, knocked off away by Pavlov. Another shorthanded break for the Sentinels is floated towards Cooper. He sticks it over to the corner. Hippolyte Smith tied up with Johnson. 10 seconds left on a disastrous power play for the Prowlers. Graham ahead to Bazal, fresh off the bench. Throws on the brakes, cycles the puck deep. All the way around it comes. Ponovanov and Bucell came together. Ponovanov tried to toss it, only got as far as Bazal. Down behind the nets, Graham looking back towards Bazal. Trying to spin off of Collazo. Bazal knocked down. Oregon looking towards the net, partially blocked. And Bucell's turnaround shot also blocked. Pavlov at the red line. Flings it right in off the corner boards. Both teams making changes. 2 line passes for Bazal. Sends in Morik. His shot blocked again as the Sentinels continue to get in front of pucks. Tipped in by Morik. Kazika swings around the net. Chased by Brett Morik. Lockhart able to cause a turnover. Price's shot just whistled wide. Esposito the other way. Off to the right wing side to Davis. Towards the net. And sticked out of play by Cooper, and will take a timeout. Ashton Collazo, the only goal so far. An unassisted, short-handed marker. Sentinels with a 1-0 lead here in Indiana.
Hey guys, what's going on?
Hi guys, we just stopped at Industrial Park Marathon to get some fuel and some snacks before the Prowlers game at McMorran.
Nice. Yeah, we just stopped by here at Industrial Park Marathon so I can get a Slurpee before the game.
Wait till after the game. If the Prowlers score 3 or more goals, Slurpees will be free.
Thanks for the info. I'm going to get my Slurpee after, but we'll see you at the Prowlers game.
See you at the game. Go
Go
Prowlers!
Back here at Hamilton Community Ice Arena, Sentinels with a 1-0 lead on the Port Huron Prowlers, courtesy of Ashton Colazzo's short-handed goal. Will Wiggleman with you here on the PHP Network. Happy New Year's Eve. Hope everyone is enjoying their final hours of 2025. Maybe drop your New Year's resolutions in the comments. Prowlers hoping to make a comeback here and get themselves one last win before flipping the calendar on their way home back to Port Huron. Colarusso up to Jawan Davis. Fed ahead, and Craig chases after it in the offensive zone. Cooper sweeps it away from him. Favaro trying to go ahead to Anderson. DeCumbus finally does get it there. Anderson surrounded, got it out to DeCumbus though. Up with speed, looking over for Price. Price wheels in, saved by Werber. Rebound pinballed around. Try and push it back out in front. Colarusso only got as far as Favaro. He'll play it back down deep. Tracy up to Esposito. Favaro would blast, and that dipped wide. Craig looking towards Davis, out of his reach, and icing called here against Indiana. You see the chance here for Bobby Price. He walked around Colin Tracy, and John Werber able to make a nice stop. Top line out for Port Huron. Graham will draw against Joan Davis. Ponovanov bounces around to Pavlov. Tried to go to Craig. Instead, it's Davis. Skating ahead, slipping past a check from Oregon. Graham takes the puck, though, but a penalty coming up. Holding the signal. And the Sentinels will be going on their first power play this game. Tim Organ, the one heading to the penalty box. As they say, that was enough to draw the holding call. The Sentinels, who have the 8th ranked power play in the FPHL, that's somewhere where they've actually done a lot of damage as their man advantage. They'll head out there. Prowlers with the 7th ranked penalty kill in the FPHL. Off this face-off, it's Colarusso setting up. Terrain for Colarusso. Gives it right back. Down towards Colazzo. Up high, Colarusso had his pass picked off neatly by Parsons, but hit his own man on the clearing attempt. Second opportunity, gets the puck out. Terrain for Colarusso. Working back in. Tried to make a pass to the left wing side. To a side scrum below the goal line. Colazzo scoops up the puck. Steps off the boards, fed it down low. Dawson back in front for Colazzo. That didn't get all the way through. Dawson twisting and turning. Finally, Prowlers take over the puck. It's Lockhart moving ahead short-handed, still with it, and he backhands it deep. Halfway through the penalty to Oregon. Colarusso waits for his team to finish a change, and now the breakout develops. Hands off for Esposito. Saucer pass towards Craig, and that didn't go cleanly, so offsides called against the Sentinels with just under 7 minutes left to go in period number 1. Prowlers have Mork out there to take the draw. He ties up with Hippolyte Smith, and DeCumbus able to find the puck and send it right down on Werber. Pavlov off to the left wing side. Tossed in. Johnson gets to it first behind his net, collapsed down by a couple of Sentinels, and Favaro able to bounce it past Pavlov. Werber stops and waits for Pavlov. 20 seconds left on the Sentinels' power play. Pavlov leaves it. Craig up to Esposito, flying on the right wing side. Esposito knocked down behind the net. Port Huron takes over and clears one last time. Oregon out of the box, and we're back to 5-on-5. Federley with a steal at the blue line. Graham able to lift Craig's stick. Here's Bazal, just getting that puck down deep. James and Pavlov get there together. Pavlov able to poke it out of the zone. Prowlers regroup. Favaro looking ahead towards James. Didn't get all the way to him. Collazo tossed back in. Favaro off the boards. Bazal had it go past him. Pass across for Dawson. Tried to slide it back through. Nobody home. Bounced out of the zone. Terrain D to D. Pazika. Red line rimmed it around. Comes all the way through towards Johnson. He starts to skate out. Ran into the linesman. Puck comes back to Alex Johnson. Enters the offensive zone. Backhands it deep all the way around. Pazika and Hakala get there together. Lockney overskated the puck. And here comes Hippolyte Smith. 3 Prowlers back. Hippolyte Smith with a shot stopped. Rebound there. And Cooper with another save. Back up comes Lockney. Over to Hakala. Drops it off. Lockney, a shot. Stopped by Werber. Rebound Oregon. And he rose that one too tall. Up into the protective, or up into the glass. Net came off its moorings. Not sure if that went over the glass or not. But either way, we will get a whistle and a timeout. As the Sentinels still leading the Prowlers here on the PHP Network.
Yeah, I don't know about this one, fellas.
Boys, we don't overcome adversity by backing down. But yeah, I don't know about this one.
That's reassuring.
We're so screwed.
All right, boys. Here's the game plan. LJ, you start with bananas. B-Way.
Wait, why do I have to do the bananas?
Because you're the softest on the team.
I don't want the bananas.
This thing is gonna melt. We gotta hurry up.
I won't do it.
Okay, both of you. I will do the bananas and the whipped cream. Fets, please continue.
Who's paying for this anyway?
I am. I just bought my tickets for the Prowlers game this weekend, and the Milkhouse gave me 25% off my order.
Fets, why'd you buy the tickets? You're literally on the team.
For the discount.
So are you all ready to give it a try?
Oh, we're ready.
It's true. Get 25% off your entire order at the Milkhouse, October through April. Simply show your ticket stubs at checkout and enjoy your discounted treat.
Keep up with your Prowlers all season long on social media. Follow us on Facebook at the Port Huron Prowlers, Instagram at PH Prowlers, and Twitter at PH Prowlers. And you can find more information on our website, phprowlers.com.
Back here in Indiana, Sentinels with the only goal so far, leading the Prowlers by a score of 1-0. Face-off will be right in front of me here in the near side corner in Indiana territory. Bucell won it back, touched the point. Lockhart a drive over top, and it hit the ceiling, and that's a puck out of play. Ceilings here very, very low. And by low, I mean if you sat on top of the glass, you would be able to touch the ceiling. So it's very easy for pucks to go out of play, especially behind the nets. Even in places where they typically wouldn't. And as Bazal goes back for Lockhart. Working in, Lockhart, nice move! Lockhart looking in front, doesn't have an option, now he does, but pass just got through James. Bazal finishes his check on Tucker Cruz. Lockhart knocked down the corner, James digging away. James comes up with the puck. But they call a hand pass here. Luke James doesn't agree, and Brett Lockhart wants after Ashton Collazo, who I believe was the one that knocked him down the corner. We take another look. There's the hit by Bazal on Cruz. who is making his pro debut, and there's the hit by Collazo on Lockhart. Cruz signed today, 5'3", 170. Played ACH hockey the last 3 years and spent this season so far with the semi-pro Summit City Distillers in the APHL. Looks like we might be, oh, pardon me. Disregard that. We have a face-off coming outside of the Sentinel zone. After the hand pass by the Prowlers, Johnson wraps it all the way around. Werber stops the puck behind his net. Ponovanov up towards Dawson. Whips it ahead off of Cruz's stick. Favaro comes back to get it. Favaro lost an edge. Anderson left it in an area. Sentinels trying to center. Instead, it's Favaro. Up the boards towards DeCumbus. No icing here. Pavlov and Price chasing. Comes around towards Anderson. DeCumbus and Davis battling. Anderson spins it up towards Oregon. Tapped right back down where it came from. Pavlov to Davis. Dalton Anderson able to lift the puck out, settled down by Federley. Curls back over towards Oregon. Prowlers have new forwards streaming off the bench. Oregon sends it off the backboards. Ponovanov trying to spin away from Lucas Lockney. Lockney swept it out towards Hakala. Lockney got his foot in Ponovanov's skate, and he is heading to the box for tripping. Prowlers will go shorthanded for the second time in this first period. Sentinels 0 for 1 on the power play. And it wasn't that one, it was that third whack right on Ponovanov's ankle that drew the tripping call. Good look there from Aiden down at ice level. Sentinels didn't get a shot on goal on their first power play, as Ponovanov feeds it down the boards, got it back. Pavlov back to Ponovanov. Wrister stopped and held by Cooper. Or Huron switching up the penalty killers. Reed Cooper able to find that one through the screen of Ryerson in front. Another guy who came from semi-pro hockey like Tucker Cruz. He was with the Michigan Shadow in the MIHL, playing semi-pro. This is not his first time in pro hockey, though. Ryerson did make a 3-game appearance with the HC Venom last season. And that was his first year since 2014. He didn't appear anywhere from 2014 to 2024. 34-year-old Ryerson. Prowlers got the puck all the way down and getting a full change here. Esposito fires ahead. Sent it right in on Cooper, and he'll clamp the glove on top for a whistle in the faceoff. And now Morick going after one of the Sentinels. I believe that's Craig. And everybody separated, and we'll get a faceoff all the way down in the Prowlers' end once again. Indiana already with a better power play than their first ones. They're getting shots towards the net. They have one shot so far on this man advantage. Shots in this period tied at 11. Tracy walks the line, got it through, save! Cooper falls back, and he's got it. Reed Cooper kept it off the line as he dropped back, and then Favaro and Leas had a bit of a dust up right at the end of that. Off this face-off, Sentinels control once again It's handed off. Passed in front, saved by Cooper on his former college roommate Nolan Dawson, and then the whistle blows because the net came off its moorings. One of 3 NCAA Division III schools Nolan Dawson played at, Curry College, and he was roommates with Reed Cooper there. Scored his first pro goal on Cooper in Port Huron, as the Sentinels tipped that one out of play. That went off the glove of Tracy at the blue line. And if the Prowlers were playing the field position game there, they won, because the draw will be outside of their zone this time. Morrick and Davis will take the face-off. Puck loose as a couple players were tied up. Oregon wasting time, and he'll send it all the way down. Werber bumped it right up to Pavlov. Slowly ahead. Pavlov to his right to Craig. Wheeling in. Craig makes a move to the middle, had it knocked off his stick. Parsons claps it up the boards and all the way down. Werber stops it for Ponovanov. Weaving up. Off to his left. Fed to the middle. Davis swung and missed at the puck, as a Prowler came back to defend him. And then a Sentinel taken in hard. Indiana bench wanted a penalty. They won't get one. Though we may have a fight. Well, Jamie Bucell had his gloves off. Ethan Esposito looked like the one who might be initiating the fight, but he didn't drop his gloves. The original hit was on Pavlov by Bucell, and Jamie Bucell may have gotten away with one there. And then he dropped his gloves. I thought Esposito was going to challenge him as Esposito grabbed him, but Ethan Esposito never dropped his mitts. That must be what the discussion is here. While they're talking, we would like to let you know that coming up in the first intermission report here on the PHP Network, we will go around the Empire, all the highlights from last weekend's games in the Empire Division, Prowlers, Sentinels, and the rest of their divisional rivals. Also take a look at some storylines from around the FPHL, out-of-town scores, and more. It's all coming up right here on the PHP Network. Nothing has gone up on the board quite yet, but there are only 3 Prowlers out defending, and now they have 2 minutes up for Jamie Bucell. So a 5-on-3 here for Indiana for 13 seconds. And you see Bucell there in the sin bin. Chance for the Sentinels to double their lead. Off the face-off, Indiana controls. Terrain walks the line. D-to-D pass. Tracy steps in, fed it down deep. Collazo, Tracy the one-timer. That one rose up out of play. 1 second until Lockney is scheduled to leave the penalty box. Draw will be to Cooper's right. Comes to the line, Terrain, wrists it through, and save made by Cooper. He had Dawson right in front. Here is Dawson trying to get a one-timer off. Good stick by the Prowlers, and out comes Graham shorthanded. Had the puck knocked away though. Dawson wheeling back in. His shot kicked out by Cooper and cleared. 32 seconds left to go in period 1. Terrain throws on the brakes on the half wall, got it down low towards Dawson. Comes back up high. Collazo off for Terrain. Wrists it through, and Cooper able to find it through the sea of sticks and hang on. take another look at that save by Cooper on Dawson. And then the most recent one, as the Sentinels were working around up top, and Cooper able to catch that one in the breadbasket and hang on. 15 saves for Cooper here in the opening 20. That's still 16 seconds left on it. Off the draw, Morick won it back, and Favaro clears it all the way down. 10 seconds left in the period. Pavlov trying for a quick up. Feeds it off to the left wing side. Konovanov towards the net, came all the way through. Craig back on goal just as time expires. And now Craig getting involved with a prowler. That's Brett Morick. Those two will have to be separated before they hit the locker rooms. Indiana will have 55 seconds of power play time when we come back for period number 2. But after 20 minutes of play, the Sentinels have a 1-0 lead on the strength of an Ashton Collazo shorthanded goal. We look back at that last sequence right as the horn sounded. One more save for Cooper. Again, 15 for him in that opening frame. But his team trails. They have not been able to beat John Werber. Once again, coming up in the first intermission report right here on the PHP Network, we will go around the Empire, take a look at all the highlights from last weekend's games. We'll also take a look at some storylines from around the league, out-of-town scores, and much more. It is all coming up here on the PHP Network. Well, didn't get what you wanted this holiday season? Check out the Prowlers team store. It's located online at shop.phprowlers.com. You can get there anytime, anywhere. We ship to the US, we ship to Canada, we ship all around the world. So get your Prowlers gear and some FPHL branded gear as well at the Port Huron Prowlers team store. You can also find it during home games on the southwest end of McMorran Arena, and it will be open Friday, Saturday, and Sunday this week, and it will be open all day as it will also be your place to rent skates for the McMorran outdoor rink out in front of McMorran Place. So be sure to check out the Prowlers team store whether you're going to rent skates or going to get some new merch. Again, southwest end of McMorran Arena, or also online anytime at shop.phprowlers.com. When we come back, we will take a look at this week's edition of Around the Empire, and we will do it next here on the PHP Network.
Hockey is like a business. One missed pass can derail the perfect plan. Have Taft Consulting help you get your whole team on the same page. They have the expertise to help you follow through on all your goals. Find out how they can help you today by emailing taftconsulting@outlook.com.
What's more authentic than a Hungry Howie's Detroit-style pizza? Nothing. We're not playing around with the pizza of our birthplace. Thick crust, cheese to the edge, sauce on the top. Where it belongs. We've seen a lot of fakes out there. Not here. This is authentic Detroit-style pizza. Order yours now online for $12.99. We sauce the top and rep for the 313 everywhere. We do bold. Hungry Howie's.
Congratulations on your engagement again, man. You know, you should get some life insurance.
I never really thought about that. How would I do that?
We can help you with that at Zach Egan State Farm. Congratulations on getting married, man. Have you gotten a house?
We just got one, actually, yeah.
Well, if you want, we can help you out with life insurance at Zach Egan State Farm to cover your mortgage. Is Olin a year old now?
He is.
Wow. Have you guys got life insurance set up on him yet?
I haven't even thought about it yet.
Oh.
How would I go about that?
Well, we can help you with that at Zach Egan State Farm. High five?
Yeah, hon, we should have gotten life insurance years ago.
Hey, Ken. We've actually got a policy for people your age at Zach Egan State Farm. Give us a call.
SMR Automotive Systems is part of the Motherson Group and a proud community sponsor of the Port Huron Prowlers. We are one of the largest manufacturers of rearview mirrors for passenger vehicles in the world, with local plants in Port Huron and Marysville. We strive to support our local communities and have positions available for various abilities and experience. Find out more about who we are at smr-automotive.com.
Explore the 140 miles of stunning shoreline along Lake Huron, that is Michigan's Thumb Coast. Discover charming coastal towns, serene beaches, and endless outdoor adventures. Stay at cozy hotels, paddle through pristine blue waters, and hit the fairways along breathtaking views. Plan your perfect getaway at bluewater.org.
Back here in Indiana, Sentinels leading the Prowlers by a score of 1-0. Well, it's time for our weekly Around the Empire feature. We have games from here in Indiana. We also have a couple from the Prowlers. We did see a shootout winner here in Indiana last weekend and much more. So let's take you back around the Empire from last weekend. We'll move west to east, starting with interdivision play in Topeka. Second period Friday, it's 1-0 for the Monroe Moccasins. Shot by Kyler Matthews. Waved off, no goal. They'd play for another 2+ minutes, despite the Moccasins celebrating. Eventually, reviewed and called a goal. So it's 2-0 Monroe at that point. Later in the frame, Connor Lind gets that one through. And the Scarecrows on the board cut the deficit in half, but the good feelings only lasted for about 33 seconds before Carlos Fernares restored the 2-goal lead. Monroe stayed a step ahead in the series opener. Topeka got off to a good start the next night. Second period, delayed penalty, and Scott Kowash goes end-to-end and makes it a 3-1 game. Mox got on the comeback trail, though. Late in the period, it's 3-2. Austin Albrecht puts home the rebound. Second goal in under 4 minutes of game time for Albrecht, and it's all tied up. Moving to the third, still tied. Scramble in front. Puck eventually squirts out to Landon Johnson, and that was the only tally of the final frame as the Moccasins swept and took control of the top spot in the Continental. Here in Indiana, Sentinels fans saw a pair of back-and-forth games against the Bobcats. Skip to the third on Friday, tie up at 3. Missed pass by the Blue Ridge defense. Jonas Leah steps into it and gives the Sentinels the lead. Under a minute to go. Empty net for the Bobcats. Brandon Reller with a rip. And that would tie things up and send the game to a shootout. Move to the second round of the shootout. Still searching for our first goal. Ethan Esposito tucks it. And that meant that the Bobcats needed a goal to keep it going.
And he puts the Sentinels ahead in the shootout. Now it's up to Reller for Blue Ridge. Reller moving in, waiting, shooting, stopped by Carr. Sentinels win it in a shootout.
Jim Mirabello on the Sentinels YouTube channel. Chris Kerr gets his first pro win against the team that traded him away at the beginning of the season. It was another offensive showdown the next night. Starting the first period, it's 2-1 Bobcats. Dennis Radchenko shot stopped. Nikita Kazirev right there for the rebound. 3-1 Blue Ridge. But here come the Sentinels. Late in the second, it's a one-goal game. Nolan Dawson, power play goal, all tied up. We head to the third, still tied. Radchenko right off the face-off. A seeing eye shot gets through. The only goal of the final frame as Blue Ridge pulls out the win to snap a 5-game losing skid. Let's head to upstate New York with the Black Bears visiting the Wolves. Late in the first on Friday, it's already 2-0. Stretch pass on for Garrett Sargis. He picks his spot and makes it a 3-0 game through 20 minutes. Second period, it's 4-0 now. CJ Stubbs able to find the rebound. His hat-trick goal made it 5-0 as Binghamton cruised for a 6-3 series opening win. Black Bears pulled away again the next night. Second period, 2-1 Binghamton. Stubbs picks his spot, nip, top corner, and makes it 3-1. A few minutes later, Kyle Steffen also picks that top corner. Black Bears rolling. Third period, it's 5-1 now. Binghamton on the power play. They work to Mac Jansen in the bumper spot. That was the 6th unanswered goal for the Black Bears as they completed the sweep on the road. Wrapping things up in Connecticut. Friday's game was postponed due to inclement weather, so we start on Saturday. Second period, it's 1-1. Puck squirts loose to Caden Kendurka, and the hat tricks go back in front. 34 seconds later, Prowlers buzzing, and they get to the net. Puck is loose, and this one would be credited to Luke James, referee in perfect position to point, and see that puck cross the line. Prowlers tied it back up. A few minutes later, Matt Graham able to tap it home as the Prowlers again active around the blue paint. That would give Port Huron a lead. It didn't relinquish, and the Prowlers able to take the series opener. Game didn't see a goal until the second period the next night. Brian Parsons' shot from the line was stopped. Rebound right there for Vinny DeCumbis. He cleans it up. 1-0 Prowlers. Then another shot from the point for the Prowlers. And it's Nick Favaro. This one goes straight through and makes it 2-0. Still in the second. Alex Johnson from the point. Stopped, and Matt Graham right there to clean up the change again. Prowlers use the second period offensive explosion to cruise to a sweep and their 4th straight win. Taking a look at the standings, the Bobcats jump back into a playoff spot, hopping over the Wolves and the hat-tricks. Meanwhile, the Prowlers add 6 points to their lead on the Scarecrows for second. 20 minutes down between the Prowlers and Sentinels in Indiana. Second period action is coming up on the PHP Network.
Welcome to the new era of Prowlers hockey. New owner, new store, new horn, fire, projectors on the ice. Yeah, this isn't your dad's McMorrin experience. This is Prowlers hockey. Get your tickets for the show now at phprowlers.com/tickets.
Keep up with your Prowlers all season long on social media. Follow us on Facebook at the Port Huron Prowlers, Instagram at PHProwlers, and Twitter at PHProwlers. And you can find more information on our website, phprowlers.com.
Prowlers hockey. Back here in Columbus, Indiana, Will Wiggleman with you on the PHP Network. Sentinels with a 1-0 lead on the Port Huron Prowlers through 20 minutes of play. Thanks so much for spending part of your New Year's Eve with us. Maybe you're home with some snacks, getting ready to watch the ball drop later. This game was originally slated to be played at 9:30 p.m., which would have wrapped up right about when the calendar would flip to 2026, but Instead, it got moved to 7:30. That move happened about a week or two ago. Unfortunately, never got fixed on the FPHL website, but I hope that everybody was able to find this one in time, if not for puck drop, at least to not miss most of that first period. Before we get to period number 2, let's take a look around the FPHL. We'll start with our Thumb Rush Control FPHL storylines. And bit of a weird one earlier on this week as the Scarecrows acquired Kyle Heitzner from the Blue Ridge Bobcat, but he had to be sent through waivers because the Bobcats had previously acquired him from the Scarecrows via trade, and you're not allowed to trade a player back to a team in the same league year after he was traded to you. Basically, no trade backs. So the Bobcats, had to put him on waivers, and the Scarecrows had to claim him. I guess the Scarecrows had the number 1 spot on the waiver claim list at this point, but either way, he's now Topeka Scarecrow, but actually he's not. He's a Tulsa Oiler because he is currently in the ECHL with Tulsa. Bit of an interesting deal, but the Bobcats replaced Heitzner with Dustin Jessot, who is over a point per game, or was over a point per game with the PD Ice Cats before he was released. Certainly not the first time an over a point per game Dustin Jessot was released, strangely, from his team. The Athens Rock Lobsters getting a little bit stronger as Malik Johnson has returned from the ECHL. He started with the Allen Americans this season, playing for former Athens Rock Lobsters coach Steve Martinson and with former Port Huron Prowler Braden Simmons-Fisher. But he is back in the lineup with the Lobsters, and he is playing tonight. Corey Cunningham has gotten moved from the Monroe Moccasins to the Twin City Thunderbirds. 9 points this season for Cunningham so far as a Moccasin, but Monroe able to make a signing earlier this week. So Cunningham on the chopping block, and he heads to go help the Thunderbirds. Let's keep looking around the FPHL. We'll take a look at the out-of-town scores and plenty of action. Couple of games that have gone final, and we start there with the Scarecrows beating the Baton Rouge Zydeco 3-2. Avery Smith scored the only goal of the third period to break the tie, and Topeka gets back in the win column. The Binghamton Black Bears blasted Watertown 9-1 the final in favor of the Black Bears. Kyle Steffen had a 4-point night for Binghamton as they continue to roll. I believe that is 15 straight wins for the Black Bears. Nick Swain, 2 goals, 2 assists. Gavin Yates, a 5-point game. That one has also gone final. Still in action, the Columbus River Dragons up 4-2 on the Athens Rock Lobsters. There we go. There's our out-of-town scoreboard presented by Love After Hours Boutique and Boudoir. So it is 4-2 Dragons right now in the second period. Hat tricks and Ice Cats still searching, the Ice Cats have taken a 2-0 lead on the Danbury Hat Tricks. Trevor Lord and Dennis Zaitchik with 2 goals a minute and 6 seconds apart in the second period. And PD up 2-0. Moccasins have a goal from Kyler Matthews. That's the only one as they are taking on Biloxi. They're still playing in period number 1. And still to come in just a few minutes, the Bobcats and the Thunderbirds will drop the puck in the Twin Cities. Of course, here it is 1-0 for the Sentinels. The out-of-town scoreboard presented by Love After Hours Boutique and Boudoir. Use code Prowlers for 15% off at Love After Hours. Prowlers hitting the ice, Sentinels hitting the ice as well. We take a quick look at our game stats from this one so far. 1-0 Sentinels. They're up in the shots on goal department, 16-11, and they will have some power play time to work with when this second period begins. But Indiana right now, again, on their third man advantage of this game. And Prowlers have taken all the penalties, or have taken all but one of the penalties so far. Reed Cooper getting set in the goal crease. Well, down at my end, left side of your screen, he made 15 saves on 16 Sentinel shots in that opening 20 minutes. John Werber down at the far end. I can barely see him from all the way over here, but he made 11 saves on 11 Prowler shots. Puck is down, and we are underway in the Hungry Howie second period. 50 seconds of power play time still remaining for Indiana as Tim Morgan gets the puck back down to the Sentinels' end. Bonovanov ahead to Lias into the offensive zone. Right wing side, Craig. Rink wide. Esposito's shot blocked by a sliding Artu Heikkila. Battled for and a hand pass called against Indiana. Austin Fairley finished his check on Ethan Esposito, and Esposito didn't like that. Gave Federley a cross check, and Luke James wants to know if Esposito wants to dance. And hand pass was called there, and you see Federley finishing his check, and Esposito took exception to that. Face-off will come outside of the Prowlers' end. Morick won it back. Parsons takes a look up ice, and he slides it all the way down. Tracy working ahead. Off to the right side. Dawson looks back across. Tracy poked it back down deep. Lias tried to swing it out in front. Nobody there. Parsons got it off the glass, but not out. Dawson to the point. Shot came in. Save Cooper. Rebounds available. Still loose. Comes out to the point. Tracy over to Galazzo. One-timer scooped up by Reed Cooper. Some chaos right in front of the Prowler net. And Cooper able to cover up. And take a look back at that sliding block by Artu Heikkila earlier on. The Prowlers survive the power play. Minute 5 gone in period 2. And they'll get a face-off right here in front of me. Graham won it back. Johnson wheels around the net. Indirect feed, tipped out by Lockney. 2-on-1 if they hurry. Graham with Heikkila. Graham got it over, and a back check by Hippolyte Smith breaks up that pass. Lockney to Favaro. Steps in, shoots, blocked. And it lands in the corner. Broken stick here for a Sentinel. He heads off to the bench to grab a new twig. Terrain all the way ahead. Craig outside shot off of Johnson, sticking up out of play. It's always a bit of a gamble when you break your stick in the defensive zone and you want to go to the bench and get a new one, especially in the period of the long change. And that Sentinel, I didn't see who it was. His number's tough to tell with these specialty jerseys for Indiana. But it ended up not costing his team. Off this face-off, comes to the corner, wrapped around by Lockhart. Blake Anderson gets the red line, tosses the puck in. Price after it. Pavlov got it past Anderson. Loose puck at center, settled down by Price. Parsons looking for Lockhart. Ahead to Cumbus, indirect feed, finds Anderson at the red line. Anderson for Price, spins back. Lockhart. Parsons straight on, walks in, he shoots, and it's partially blocked wide. Price takes the carom, turnaround try, gloved and held by Werber. Prowlers will get an offensive zone draw here. After another glove save by John Werber. Good work by Port Huron. Get that puck back, and nobody in front though to screen Werber. First shot of the period for the Prowlers. Sentinels already with 4. Off this face-off. Sent out. Port Huron able to take back over. It's tossed in and sticked away by Werber. Federally able to keep the puck in at the line. Tracy fed a pass ahead for Dawson. Tossed it right into Cooper. He catches it, thought about dropping it, but decided not to. Conversation being had right at the top of the blue paint, and both teams will head off to their benches for changes. We'll get new lines on both sides. Bit of a choppy start to this second period. Plenty of whistles. As DeCumbis and Hippolyte-Smith tie up. Shot from the point blocked. And Hippolyte-Smith after it. Anderson gets there first for the Prowlers, but he tossed it up out of play. They say it was deflected, so no delay of game penalty coming. Esposito disagrees, but referee Cody Lang, right here standing in front of me, had a good angle. Kicked back to the line, a drive, glove down by Cooper. Pazika was the one that let it go. Moore comes out to take the face-off for DeCumbis. Rest of DeCumbis' line stays. And this is not the first time we've seen that from Coach Paulin, sending out Brett Morick for a face-off, but he won't be allowed to take it. Instead, it'll be Blake Anderson. Anderson won it back. Johnson tried to wheel around. He's toppled over. Johnson down on the ice behind the net. It was Denver Craig who got him. Pass out in front, just too far in front of Esposito. Johnson back to his skates, still laboring. Prowlers trying to get the puck out here. Favaro able to sweep it past one man, and here comes Nick Favaro. Gets the red line, off to the left wing side to Anderson. All the way across, Federley tried to float it towards the net, and it ends up over the glass, out of play. Everett Thompson pleading for a too many men on the ice penalty. Meanwhile, players tied up. Federley and I believe that's Craig. Terrain has a hold of Bobby Price. Indeed, that is Denver Craig, the two number 19s. And now Terrain and Price have to be pried apart. And you see Craig finishing his check on Austin Federley, and Federley going right back at him. Shots 21-12 in favor of the Indiana Sentinels so far in this game. They have the 1-0 lead on the first period shorthanded marker from Ashton Collazo. Fired off the glass out of Indiana's zone. Pushed right back in by Port Huron. Sent back out once more. Parsons. Head tipped in by the Sentinels, so no icing. Panovanov has to deal with Hakala, took the puck, tried to go in front for Graham. Hakala throws a check. They try and dig it free, and the puck lands for Ryerson. Up to the right wing side. Pazika finds the trailer. Wrist shot scooped up by Reed Cooper. And no rebound. It was Panovanov who got the wrister off right along the ice. They had been looking for a tip in front as he had Ryerson battling with Brett Lockhart at the side of the crease. And you hear instructions from the linesman to Brett Morick, who got kicked out of his last face-off opportunity as Cooper gloves down a shot from the point. They'll do it again from the same spot. This time Jamie Bucell will take it. Comes over to the board, swept up top by Davis. Shot didn't get all the way through. And Favaro able to block that second opportunity. James circles back. Had to go over to Oregon. Gets into the puck. All the way up, tipped in by Bucell. Colarusso. Reverse back for Tracy, has Davis, gave it to him. Davis sidestepped the check from Bucell and got it ahead. Leas had the puck poked off his stick. Tossed up, Prowlers have numbers. Bucell, James was taken down. Penalty coming up against Indiana. That was going to be a 2-on-1, but Luke James got taken out in the neutral zone, and the Prowlers will go to their second power play of the night. A Prowlers power play was the avenue on which we got our only goal of the game. Unfortunately for Port Huron, it was a Sentinels goal. Colin Tracy, the one heading to the box. Alex Johnson back out there after the hit from his last shift. Federley wrists it through, and it's gloved by Werber. We'll take a timeout, just over 5 gone in period 2, and we'll have most of a Prowlers power play when we come back here on the PHP Network. Back here in Indiana, Prowlers trailing the Sentinels 1-0. See a save there from Reed Cooper. Gets a fist bump from Jamison Bork, the backup, and heads back to his net. Let's take another look at the penalty as Tracy got his stick down and tripped up Luke James right at the blue line, and there was the penalty call. Minute 54 still left on this man advantage for Port Huron, and we'll try it again. Dawson and Graham will take it. Graham won it back. Federley goes right down the boards to Lockney. Back up top. Across the blue line, Johnson. Bucell's lined up right in front. Johnson down to Graham, centered it out in front, and Werber able to get down and stop it. So he hugged the post. Federley has some pressure. Here comes Dawson shorthanded. Tried to sweep it out in front, had Collazo going to the net. Came to Cooper, and he covered up. Sentinels continue to be aggressive at the top of their defensive zone while shorthanded. It gave the Prowlers trouble and turned into a shorthanded marker in the opening 20 minutes, and gave them an odd man rush right there. Port Huron switching up the unit. They have Anderson, Lockhart, Price, Hakala, and Favaro. And an unfair drop. We'll try it again. Anderson and Leas in on this face-off. Tied up right on the dot. Hakala able to grab it, and he moves ahead with Price. Floated it that direction. Price dumped it in, but Port Huron offside at the line. So that will end that rush, and Prowlers will have to deal with a face-off outside of the offensive zone. Still the minute 16 left on their power play. Anderson won it back. Favaro for Lockhart gave it back to him. Blake Anderson off for Price. Ships it down deep. Anderson puts his man into the backboards. Swept up high, Favaro. Prowlers set up. Back down and around it goes. Anderson towards Price in the corner. Up high, Favaro. Back to Price. Starts working up the boards. Up top, Lockhart shot punched out by Werber. He had it labeled for that top corner blocker side. Sentinels clear. Favaro wheels around the net. Moving up with speed. Off to Lockney on the left wing side. Looking for Graham. Pass went off his stick. Bucell couldn't knock down that puck. Johnson doing all he can to keep Dawson from going in shorthanded. Now a drive from the point. Off a stick and up out of play. The Sentinels continuing to get pressure on Prowler power plays. 12 seconds left in this one. A very, very aggressive Indiana Sentinels PK. And Prowlers just seem to have no answers for it right now. Morick with a clean face-off win. Morgan around the net, ahead to Luke James. Penalty set to expire as James goes around the net. He's double teamed. Tecumseh gets into the pile. Morick grabs the puck. Morick kicks down by Craig. Put it in the far corner, or in the other corner. Indiana back in, and Cooper able to cover up the dump in. He'll hang on as Dawson and James have a conversation to Cooper's right. Prowlers 0 for 2 now on the power play. They trail it 1-0. Shot from the point by Colarusso, floats wide. Hakala and Davis tie up. Graham, Lockney, and now Hakala speeding ahead. Hakala cuts to the middle. Off to Lockney, a shot knocked down by Werber and clear to the corner. Davis for Dawson. Pass was behind Esposito. He gets it deep. Davis cycles to a side scrum in the corner. Johnson watching, and the puck escapes the zone. Colarusso backpedals over to Tracy. Davis had it poked off his stick, still tossed in. Johnson over to Favaro. Reverse up ahead towards Price. He took a hit, still got it out of the zone. Bonovanov backpedaling, gets towards the red line. Pass across, one timed in by Esposito. He heads off for a change. Favaro up in Anderson's direction. Tecumseh trying to grab the puck at center. He does. Couldn't dangle in though. Tecumseh cutting to the net, and he was taken away by the defense. Up comes Dalton Anderson. Cruz all the way around. Blake Anderson waiting for it there. Spins away from Tucker Cruz. Anderson to the red line, and he'll backhand it deep. Pass taken away by Bucell. Trying to move it down to James. Sharp angle try, wouldn't go. Karams to Organ. Back on goal, didn't get all the way through. Bazal cycling down towards James. He'll keep it moving down to Bucell. There's a stickless Sentinel defending. Lockhart shot, blockered by Werber. Bazal gets to that puck. Indiana looking for a clear, and they'll get it, but only slightly. Prowlers coming right back in. James for Bazal. Throws on the brakes. Bazal to the top. Lockhart shot stopped. Rebound available. Still loose. And it's cleared away to the corner. Werber still swimming. Lockhart works down the boards, and he sends it back deep. James behind the net. Tried to pop it out to Lockney. That didn't work. And up comes Indiana. Colazzo working on Parsons. Couldn't get it on net. Brett Lockhart starts back up for the Prowlers. Lockney with Hakala. Slows up, cuts to the middle. Lockney gets a shot away that Werber stops. Lockhart back towards the net. Didn't get all the way there. Or Parsons, pardon me. Terrain tried to move it ahead. Ran into Parsons. Hakala one-handing that puck. He'll send it back to Lockhart. All the way up to Price. Sends Hakala in. On the right wing side, his shot scooped up by John Werber. He'll hang on for a whistle and a face-off. Now we have a little disturbance right around the blue paint. Everybody separated. And we'll take a break. Still 1-0 Sentinels past the midway point of this game in Indiana.
Hockey is like a business. One missed pass can derail the perfect plan. Have Taft Consulting help you get your whole team on the same page. They have the expertise to help you follow through on all your goals. Find out how they can help you today by emailing taftconsulting@outlook.com.
Explore 140 miles of stunning shoreline along Lake Huron in Michigan's Thumb Coast. Begin your adventure on a blanket of golden sand at one of our serene beaches. Connect with the historic atmosphere of our region's nautical influence and reconnect with friends under a blanket of stars. Plan your perfect getaway at bluewater.org.
Back here in Indiana, still 1-0 Sentinels. Prowlers getting their opportunities though. As here's the chance from Artu Hakala. And John Werber able to scoop up. 20 saves on 20 Prowlers shots so far for Werber. Came into this game with a .407 goals against average and an .892 save percentage. He's looked very good so far. Prowlers have not really gotten too many high danger opportunities. A lot of shots from the outside. Anderson won the draw back. Favaro looking for Price, and that one exploded off his stick. Sentinels clear it all the way down, and that is an icing. Those shots from long range, at least from the point, worked for the Prowlers in Danbury on Sunday, as 3 shots from the blue line created their 3 second period goals. One of them went straight through for Favaro, but then the other 2 created rebounds. But none such luck so far here tonight. Anderson won the draw back again. Favaro lets it go, blocked. Blake Anderson keeps it alive at the line, stick to the glass by Werber. Cumbus couldn't pull it off the boards cleanly. Up comes Hippolyte Smith, smushed to the boards by Anderson. Favaro keeps it moving around. Price tries a high flip towards Blake Anderson. And this time, Bobby Price is going to get a delay of game penalty. Although referee's talking about it right now. He tried to saucer a pass all the way to Blake Anderson, who is cutting up the right wing side. And now they say it was deflected. So he may have caught the top of the glass. Let me get a real good look here. Oh no, it's a little bit further down. I think they're saying he caught the top of the glass before it went up out of play. Very, very close, but referee or the linesman standing over there must have heard it hit that glass. As here's Arttu Heikkilä dropping it back for Federley. Taking a look from behind his net, Federley steps out. Across to Organ. Looking towards Heikkilä, and that one deflects up out of play. Oh, the faceoff coming inside or outside the Sentinel zone. Originally it was pointed outside, but Port Huron won the plea to have the faceoff inside. Everett Thompson is very upset by that decision and is voicing his displeasure. Face-off deep in Indiana's end. Prowlers bench trying to get some kind of noise and momentum going. They were banging their sticks right before that face-off. Lockney wheeling around behind the net. Saucers it up high to Federley. Sent it through. Save Werber. Rebound was right there before it was forcefully sent to the boards. Knocked out of the zone. Federley tosses it right back in. Graham got it deep. Colarusso. D-to-D over to Tracy as the Prowlers get a change. Davis working in. He's taken down. Couple of players go flying. Federley and Davis tie up. Puck still loose. And Lockhart able to rescue it away to the corner. Danger not over though. Davis taken in by Federley. Lockhart there as well. He sends it around this way. Tracy pinches in. Got it back around to that far corner. Bucell up the boards as Davis and Federley tackled each other to the ice. Penalty coming up against the Prowlers as James was hit hard. Lockney came over and took exception, and now everybody getting involved. And Everett Thompson screaming at the referee. I believe his team was scheduled to go on a power play, but he's still barking at the officials. There's still 4 players dancing around and not being separated by anyone. Lockney and Ponovanov, 2 of the main characters there. And finally, everybody will get their equipment back as we take another look here. Here's James taking out Davis and ending up taking out a couple of his teammates as well. And there's James getting leveled right in front of the bench. Lockney came over and knocked down that Sentinel. It looks like it was Tracy. And then it all broke loose right in front of the bench. Referees discussing here as Brett Lockhart's number is up on the board for 2 minutes. I thought Lucas Lockney was going to be the one who gets the original penalty, and now he is heading over towards the sin bin. I believe they are escorting at least one Sentinel over to the penalty box. Well, they were bringing Pavlov over that direction, but decided not to. Discussions continue. James Ryerson is standing outside the penalty box door. And now Lockney is being allowed to go back to his bench. Ryerson sitting in the box. Lockney's number is on the board, but he's back at the bench. Discussions continue. Ryerson has stepped out of the penalty box. And now Lockney is going in. This may be a full 2-minute 5-on-3 for the Sentinels, a team that has been able to frustrate the Prowlers this season. And this might be another example of that. Now, there's no penalty on this play as players went toppling over each other. Chris Paul, the Prowlers associate head coach, is getting the explanation right now. There's the original hit on James. And then Lockney came over, gave Tracy a shove. And that was the original call. And then Brett Lockhart also got a penalty. Nobody on the Sentinels seems to have gotten one as well. So again, a full 2-minute 5-on-3 looks to be what we have for Indiana. So a huge test for the Prowlers penalty kill in a 1-0 game. PK is 3 for 3 so far in this one. Graham Johnson and Federley will start. And Graham wins the faceoff back. Federley clears down. Pavlov, right wing side. Craig flying in. Craig, centering feed, comes all the way out to Ponovanov. Pavlov looks. Pavlov shoots, and it's gloved down by Cooper. Port Huron will send a new threesome out for this faceoff. Or at least they send 2 out. Graham and Johnson replaced by Bucell and Favaro. Sentinels keeping out this same power play unit. Puck comes to the middle. Federley won the battle, and he's able to playing it off the glass and down. Good job by Austin Federley. Near side, Esposito throws on the brakes. Fed it across to Pavlov. Lias is set up right in front of Cooper. Ponovanov looking to deliver it there. Esposito. Now Ponovanov, sharp angle try, stopped by Cooper. Ponovanov recollects in the near corner. Over to Pavlov. Trying to make a pass down low. Prowler's got a stick in the lane. Favaro battling with a couple of Sentinels. Comes to the line. Pavlov. Craig on his backhand deflected. Over top of the net. Lias and Federley come together. Craig muscled off by Favaro. Now Esposito got it to the side of the net. Cooper couldn't cover up with his blocker, but Favaro able to clear it all the way down. 35 seconds left on the Sentinels power play. In comes Craig. Couldn't dangle around Johnson, but he swept it back to Pizzica. Over to Terrain. Gets to the middle of the ice, down to Collazo. Terrain, one-timer, tipped wide, off the backboard, wrap chance, stopped by Cooper. Prowlers think the net's come off, doesn't seem like it is. Collazo, down to Pizzica. Collazo didn't let the shot go. Here comes Favaro, has 2 men coming out of the box, sends it ahead to Lockney. But the Sentinels came back to defend Lucas Lockney. Prowlers in the midst of a change. Out comes Indiana. Collazo spinning back. Gave it to the line. Tracy's shot blocked on the way through. Tracy has it again. Got it down low. All the way around it comes. Dawson and Parsons come together. Lockhart up for Lockney. Blake Anderson gets in. Curl and drag. Takes the shot. It's blocked. Dawson backhands it right on net, and Cooper drops down to make the save. Anderson double teamed. Hippolyte Smith digging away. Tecumseh came in to help out, tries to pull it out of the scrum. Parsons does, indirectly off the backboards to Oregon. Ahead for Bobby Price. Now to Parsons. Skating to the red line. Parsons wheels in to the right wing side. Anderson with a shot knocked down by Werber. And the Sentinels try to come back out. Joan Davis knocked down by Anderson. Price digs it free. He fires it in off the glass. Werber stopped it behind the net. Anderson and Tracy tie up. Price comes up with the puck. One-timer. Stopped by Werber. And where is it? It's underneath Werber. He keeps it out with a pile of players in the blue paint. 3:33 left to go in period 2. Prowlers survive a full 5-on-3 for 2 minutes. And then that close to getting themselves on the board. And Romeo Terrain went flying there, but lots of chaos. We will take a timeout and get a moment to breathe here on the PHP Network.
SMR Automotive Systems is part of the Motherson Group and a proud community sponsor of the Port Huron Prowlers. We are one of the largest manufacturers of rear-view mirrors for passenger vehicles in the world, with local plants in Port Huron and Marysville. We strive to support our local communities and have positions available for various abilities and experience. Find out more about who we are at smr-automotive.com.
What's more authentic than a Hungry Howie's Detroit-style pizza? Nothing. We're not playing around with the pizza of our birthplace. Thick crust, cheese to the edge, sauce on the top. Where it belongs. We've seen a lot of fakes out there. Not here. This is authentic Detroit-style pizza. Order yours now online for $12.99. We sauce the top and rep for the 313 everywhere. We do bold. Hungry Howie's.
Back here in Indiana, Prowlers still trailing by a goal, but they came close as Blake Anderson got in hard on the forecheck. There's the shot that Werber stopped. The rebound seemed to be loose. Prowlers went digging. Werber went sliding into the net. The puck ended up over on the far side of this pile. So it never did cross the line. It was not under Werber, but they blew it dead, and face-off comes outside of the Indiana zone. A little stick fighting here on the near side between Morick and Dawson. Finally get the puck down. Graham trying to move ahead with it. There's Dawson all the way across to Pavlov. Prowlers move back out the other way. Morick, left wing side, it's Hakala. Dances in, lost the handle. Graham settles the puck down, takes a look and shot it wide. Pavlov spinning off a check. Ponovanov all the way up to Dawson, who spins away from Federley. Good step by Lockhart, though, to come across with his stick. Bizal chips the puck in. James after it. He and Ponovanov come together, and it ends up out of play. Looking for a pregame meal. Zip Sauce Burger is located in the Industrial Park Marathon. Zip Sauce, the official burger of the Port Huron Prowlers. Face-off will be inside Indiana's end. As we take another look at the hit there by James before the puck came out of play. It popped over top of the glass. Esposito took a check from Anderson. Wrapped around and touched up, but Tecumseh keeps it alive. Price gave it off for Favaro, sneaking in down the board. Centering feed, they score! Blake Anderson, one times at home, and we're all tied up. Nice pass in front from Favaro to Anderson, but again, this line, which we've talked about time and time again, their forechecking abilities, turning over pucks. Vinny DeCumbis did it, and Nick Favaro snuck down the boards and centered for Blake Anderson. He picks up his 8th goal of the season. All even up late in the second. Port Huron looking for more. Hakala down to Federley. Cycled once again. Graham backhands it up high, but it got past Federley. Now he's in a foot race. Dalton Anderson is going to win the race. They come together right in front of the broadcast booth. Oregon hands it off for Lockney. Wheeling ahead. Lockney drops the shoulder to the net. Save Werber. Turnaround try by Hakala. Didn't get anything on it. Lockhart straight on. Fired it wide. Lockney back on goal. Werber the save. Indiana working out. Shot right in. Cross corner dump. Bazal over to Lockhart. Chips it on for Luke James. Bazal hustling after the dump, and he wins the race against Tracy. Now Tracy trying to move it out. Got it up to a teammate. Sent in. Parsons and Davis. They come together behind the net. Juwan Davis looking back for that puck, and said Parsons chipped it up the boards. Turned back around behind the net. Lockhart looks up. Got it towards James. Just out of the zone. Under a minute to go in period 2. Indirect feed. Dumped in by Juwan Davis. Lockhart. Ahead towards James. Bucell up with speed. Inside out move. Lost the handle. Price backed him up. Price looking towards the net. And puck goes off a stick and up out of play. I'll stick around for the second intermission report here on the PHP Network, as we will take a look at some highlights and analysis from that first 40 minutes. We'll also take a look at the Prowlers' upcoming schedule, out-of-town scores, and much more. It's all coming up right here on the PHP Network. Off this face-off, loose puck grabbed by Davis with 24 to go in the period. Davis streaking it. That's Hippolyte-Smith, pardon me. Cooper lost his goal stick. There's some contact right in front. His stick is in the net. Favaro able to sneak it around for Anderson with 7. Pass was behind Price. Johnson, pardon me, just trying to move it ahead, and that will do it for period number 2. Now Price involved with a couple of Sentinels. Denver Craig had a hold of Bobby Price there. They're separated. We have a tie hockey game heading into the final 20 minutes of play in regulation and maybe more. Prowlers have not seen extra hockey this season. This is game number 27 for them. Their longest streak to begin a season, but their longest streak ever without overtime or a shootout. Oh, that was over 30 games. So still a few more to go unless we get OT here. Prowlers heading to the locker room. We want to remind you again, coming up on the second intermission report right here on the PHP Network, highlights and analysis from the first 40 minutes of play. We'll also take a look at the Prowlers' upcoming schedule, the out-of-town scores, and much more. It's all coming up right here on the PHP Network. Should be an interesting final 20. The big question is, will somebody score down on my end? Both goals so far have come down on the end, about 200 feet away from the broadcast booth at ice level here at Hamilton Community Ice Arena. Referees still discussing that fracas that happened right there at the end, and we may find out if there will be penalties. We take another look at the final seconds. Price threw a check, and then he had 2 Sentinels players right on him, and that continued for a good long while. Before finally Price was pried free from Colin Tracy. coaching staff is ready there to draw up what they hope will be a plan to win this game. But we are here in the second intermission. Again, the Prowlers and Sentinels tied up at 1 apiece. Secure your seats for the Prowlers' next home game. That is when they will take on these Sentinels on Friday, January the 2nd. Puck drop at McMorran Place, scheduled for 7:05 p.m. This will be the night of the best giveaway that you can get in minor pro hockey, a jersey giveaway. That's right. We are giving away a jersey to the first 500 fans, 21 and older, courtesy of the exhibit. So very excited for that giveaway, and you have to be there early. Again, the first 500 fans, 21 or over, can participate in that giveaway. But everyone can participate in 80s night on Friday. We'll have a Richard Simmons look-alike contest with a cash prize. We'll be playing 80s music all night long at McMorran Place. So wear your favorite 80s garb, dust it off, dig it out of the closet, and we will see you there on Friday night. You can get your tickets at phprowlers.com/tickets, by phone at 810-985-6166, or by scanning the QR code on your screen now. That's online at phprowlers.com/tickets, by phone at 810-985-6166, or scan that QR code on your screen now to experience the new McMorran Place entertainment. Prowlers and Sentinels tied up with 20 minutes left to go. We will be right back and be here to talk about it all here on the PHP Network.
Come on, guys, hop in.
We're not getting in that thing. That thing's gross.
Yeah, I wore my nice pants today. This thing could use a detail.
Well, I don't know. Do you know anybody who could detail a boat?
I think that guy could.
Hi, I'm Logan from Ballard's Detail. I can detail your boat.
From oxidized and faded to smooth and glossy, our professional compounding and waxing process will get your boat looking new again. Contact us today at 810-956-8318. Visit us on Facebook at Ballard's Detail LLC.
SMR Automotive Systems is part of the Motherson Group and a proud community sponsor of the Port Huron Prowlers. We are one of the largest manufacturers of rearview mirrors for passenger vehicles in the world, with local plants in Port Huron and Marysville. We strive to support our local communities and have positions available for various abilities and experience. Find out more about who we are at smr-automotive.com.
Hello, I'm home. There he is. What is happening? Relax. We won. They brought back the snack wrap. Spicy or ranch? Spicy. Go. Yeah. Just one little bite. Can you stop? Oh, sorry.
Gather your crew. The snack wrap is back.
This isn't working. LJ, pass me those flyers.
No look behind the back pass? It's a hope play. I'll say, come on. Gap up. Close the gap. Close the gap. What are we saying? This isn't working. We need a shift change. Let's bring in the professionals.
Head over to the Birchwood Mall for your shopping and entertainment needs. Hop on the carousel, shoot some hoops, or visit some of their great stores such as Gerlach's Woodworks, where they specialize in handcrafted wooden decorations. Add to your fan cave a Prowlers theme creation. Upgrade your bathroom at Luxury Bath Mobility Remodelers. They can fully customize your bath or shower to fit your needs, and they also do flooring. For the sports fan in your life, pick up a unique gift from Pro Edge Sports. Jam-packed with all kinds of memorabilia. There's something for everyone. And it's not a trip to the mall without Auntie Anne's pretzels. Grab a freshly made full-size cup of pretzel bites and wash it down with some frozen lemonade. At the Birchwood Mall, you can find this and more. Visit them on 24th Ave in Fort Gratiot.
Hey guys, what's going on?
Hi guys, we just stopped at Industrial Park Marathon to get some fuel and some snacks before the Prowlers game at McMorran.
Nice. Yeah, we just stopped by here at Industrial Park Marathon so I can get a Slurpee before the game.
Wait till after the game. If the Prowlers score 3 or more goals, Slurpees will be free.
Thanks for the info. I'm going to get my Slurpee after, but we'll see you at the Prowlers game.
See you at the game. Go Prowlers!
Yeah, I don't know about this one, fellas.
Boys, we don't overcome adversity by backing down. But yeah, I don't know about this one.
That's reassuring.
We're so screwed.
All right, boys. Here's the game plan. LJ, you start with bananas. B-Way?
Wait, why do I have to do the bananas?
Because you're the softest on the team.
I don't want the bananas.
This thing is gonna melt. We gotta hurry up.
I won't do it.
Okay, both of you. I will do the bananas and the whipped cream. Fets, please continue.
Who's paying for this anyway?
I am. I just bought my tickets for the Prowlers game this weekend, and the Milk House gave me 25% off my order.
Fets, why'd you buy the tickets? You're literally on the team.
For the discount.
So are you all ready to give it a try?
Oh, we're ready.
It's true. Get 25% off your entire order at the Milk House, October through April. Simply show your ticket stubs at checkout and enjoy your discounted treat.
Back here in Columbus, Indiana, the Prowlers and Sentinels all knotted up at a goal apiece through 40 minutes of play. Will Wiggleman here with you on the PHP Network. Thanks so much for joining us tonight on New Year's Eve. So glad that you've chosen to have your New Year's Eve party and have us on, at least in the background. Maybe you have the sound on, maybe you're paying attention, but thanks so much for joining us. What's been a low-scoring affair, lots of chippiness, and lots of guys just not too much space out there, I'd say, for both teams. Lots of shots from the outside, shots from the point. And the Sentinels really were able to capitalize on their one big grade A chance. And that was in the first period as we start taking a look back at the highlights. But the Prowlers got the first power play of the game, and it was Indiana that was able to get a goal, although there's again, what I talked about, shots from the outside as Werber made the first save and then was able to stretch across for the second save. But here's that goal from Ashton Collazo. First stop made by Cooper, and then Collazo able to put it home on the rebound. But that all came about because the Prowlers had trouble with the puck up high in the offensive zone on the man advantage, and that's been a bit of a theme for their power plays in this game. Indiana is very, very aggressive high in the defensive zone while they're shorthanded. It's given the Prowlers fits, and they've turned the puck over more than once in that area of the ice between the tops of the circles and the blue line, which is a terrible place to turn over the puck. Like right at the blue line in the offensive zone or the defensive zone is always the worst place, they say, to turn over the puck. And the Prowlers did that, and of course they paid for it. But the Prowlers also did get a turnover in that second period at the top of the blue line in the offensive zone, and it was Vinny DeCumbis who did it, and that led to this goal. Nick Favaro to Blake Anderson, the one-timer from in tight, and that line strikes again. It was Price to Favaro to Anderson, but again, Vinny DeCumbis doing the hard work, causing a turnover right at the top of the zone, and that one just snuck through Werber. And Blake Anderson stays hot. He's on a 5-game point streak. 8 goals this season for Anderson. The former Monroe Moccasin came over in that Tucker Scantleberry trade this offseason, as did Nick Favaro. So a couple of former Moccasins hooking up for that goal. And that tied things up at 1 apiece. But yeah, plenty of other action going on, but it's mostly been saves and different fights and whatnot. Not full fights, but both teams getting into little scrums between whistles off to the side of the nets and whatnot. But both Reed Cooper and John Werber have been strong in this game. They've played very well. As you see, get a look at some of these saves from both netminders. But again, the rough stuff has continued. Here's the hit on Luke James that led to what was a 2-minute 5-on-3 for the Sentinels after Lucas Lockney and Brett Lockhart both got sent to the penalty box for going after Colin Tracy, who threw the hit on James. Lockhart and Tracy, former college teammates. But the Prowlers were able to kill off the full 2-minute 5-on-3, and they really got a lot of energy off of that near the end of that second period as they started to turn up the heat, and they did eventually get that first goal. And there's right at the end of the second period, Bobby Price tied up with Denver Craig and Jawan Davis, who originally took the hit from Price right as that middle frame expired. The Prowlers and the Sentinels tied up at a goal apiece here. 40 minutes down and still 20 to go, and maybe more. We've said that a few times this season, and we have not gotten more, not even once, if you've been watching the PHP Network all year. Maybe tonight's the night. We'll find out, but we'll have much more coming up for you on the Intermission Report when we come back here on the PHP Network.
Welcome to the new era of Prowlers hockey. New owner, new store, new horn, fire, projectors on the ice. Yeah, this isn't your dad's McMorrin experience. This is Prowlers hockey. Get your tickets for the show now at phprowlers.com/tickets.
Keep up with your Prowlers all season long on social media. Follow us on Facebook at the Port Huron Prowlers, Instagram at PH Prowlers, and Twitter at PH Prowlers. And you can find more information on our website, phprowlers.com.
Back here in Indiana, Prowlers and Sentinels tied up at a goal apiece through 40 minutes of play on this New Year's Eve. Final hours of 2025 ticking down, about 2.5 hours left in the calendar year 2025. Thank you so much for spending some of those final hours with us here on the PHP Network. And before we get to period number 3, let's take a look at the Prowlers' upcoming schedule, as they have a lot coming up. A couple of games this weekend to begin 2026, both 7:05 p.m. starts against these same Indiana Sentinels. Now, this part of 5 games in 7 days, roughly, for the Prowlers, or 4 games in 7 days for the Prowlers, after their game last Friday against the Danbury Hat-Tricks got postponed to Sunday. So 4 games this week, with the Hat-Tricks beating them 4-1 on Sunday, and then here we are in Indiana, and this ends a 3-game road trip for the Prowlers that they're trying to stay perfect on before they head home January 2nd and 3rd. And as we mentioned, it is the jersey giveaway and 80s night on Friday, and then on Saturday, law enforcement torch run for Special Olympics night, which is always a popular specialty theme night every single year. And this year the theme masquerade jersey. So bring out all your fancy masquerade party gear and come out to McMorrin Place on Saturday night. That'll be the last time you can see the Prowlers for a couple of weeks, as next week is one of 2 bye weeks the Prowlers have this season. But they will not be out of the public eye next week, as on Sunday they will be at the exhibit, who is sponsoring that jersey giveaway on Friday. They'll be doing an autograph signing. You must be 21 years of age or older to be at the exhibit for that signing, 1 p.m. on Sunday, January the 4th. And then we'll be back at Wings Etc. for the Prowlers Coaches Show on January the 7th, 6:30 p.m. And fans of all ages are invited to that. You can be there live or find it here on the PHP Network. But if you're there live, you might get a giveaway for asking a question. And you can also chat with all the other Prowlers players who come out and watch the show. And you can see both sides and hear both sides of the conversations between the guys up on the mic and everybody else who's hanging out there in the building, which is a lot of fun. Sometimes you might feel like you get left on the outside looking in when you're watching the coach's show and the players are having conversations with the players who are not part of the coach's show. But if you're there, you get to hear both sides of those, and trust me, very, very entertaining, maybe even more entertaining than the parts when I'm talking. But that will be on the 7th, a week from today, and we will see you there at Wings, etc. Let's take a look around the FPHL with our out-of-town scoreboard. A full slate of games on this New Year's Eve. 2 have already gone final, and we start with the Topeka Scarecrows, who got a third-period goal from Avery Smith for a come-from-behind 3-2 win over the Baton Rouge Zydeco earlier this evening. Also, the Binghamton Black Bears crushed the Watertown Wolves 9-1 in front of a sellout crowd at Visions Veterans Memorial Arena. Gavin Yates had 5 points. Kyle Steffen had 4. Nick Swain had 4 as well. Black Bears continue to roll over just about everybody that stands in their way. We're having a great game in Athens between the River Dragons and the Rock Lobsters. Lobsters came back from a 4-2 deficit in the third to take a 5-4 lead, but Shawettin Blacksmith has tied it back up. It's 5-5, late stages of period 3 in Athens. Ice Cats looking to wrap up a 3-1 win over the Danbury Hat-Tricks. Just about a minute or so left to play there in Florence, as Konstantin Cherniak has the most recent goal for the Ice Cats, an insurance marker early in period 3. Breakers and Mocs tied up at 2 apiece. They just saw a fight between former Prowlers AJ Schlepp and Tucker Scantleberry, who were not Prowlers at the same time, but that in response to Scantleberry hitting Lucas Bakarzik last time these teams met with a shot after the buzzer. And on the ice, though, it was a 2-0 lead for Monroe, but the Breakers have since tied it. Finally, Twin City Thunderbirds have a 5-1 lead over the Blue Ridge Bobcats through just 20 minutes of play in Winston-Salem. 5 different goal scorers for the Birds, including Corey Cunningham making his Thunderbirds debut. 5 goals on 18 shots for the Birds, and that chased Hunter Verostic after 16 of those shots. Of course, here it is 1-1 between the Prowlers and the Sentinels. Out-of-town scoreboard presented by Love After Hours Boutique and Boudoir. Use code Prowlers for 15% off at Love After Hours. Quick look at the game stats before we get set for period 3. Game tied at 1. Relatively low penalty minute totals, but the Prowlers have had to kill off some 5-on-3 time, lengthy 5-on-3 time. They've gotten the job done. Shots 29-24 in favor of Indiana. Both goaltenders have been fantastic so far. Reed Cooper on the far side, about 200 feet away from the broadcast booth here at ice level in Indiana. He's made 28 saves on 29 Sentinel shots. Meanwhile, John Werber in the goal crease down on my side, 23 of 24. Port Huron's on a power play here to start period 3. As Noah Hippolyte-Smith is in the box. This a surprise to me, as it did not come down on my penalty sheet. They just put it up right at the start of the period. So Port Huron trying to make things work on the man advantage as Alex Johnson works in deep. Graham in the corner, looking for an option. He finds Lockney. Up to the line, Federley taps it right back to Lucas Lockney. Lockney up high, Federley floats it through, deflected down by Bucell. Graham around to Lockney, centering feed, didn't get all the way through. Graham looking for Bucell. It caroms back to Johnson. Graham across Lockney. Federley faked the one-timer. Johnson down to Graham. Bucell right in front. Graham got it there, and it's Save made by Werber on the tip by Bucell. Graham tried to look across to Bucell, but turned it over, and the Sentinels clear. Port Huron will get fresh bodies out there. Cooper out to play it with his goal stick, and he leaves it for Favaro. 40 seconds left on the Port Huron man advantage. They gave the penalty 2 minutes for roughing. Here's Price dancing through, and he couldn't get a shot on net. Favaro off for Lockhart. Back to Favaro, one-timer, scooped up, score! It was not scooped up by Werber. It was pounded home by R2 Hakela, and the Prowlers have the lead. Werber looked like he was going to get to that puck, but Hakela beat him to it. And off the blast from Favaro, Hakela right there in the blue paint. I thought Werber scooped it up. He thought so too, but he just missed it. As watching lift his glove, and Hakela right there to put home his 10th goal of the year. Port Huron with its first lead of the night. And now they are even on the power play. One power play goal, one shorthanded goal given up. Favaro and Lockhart getting the assists. Prowlers work back in. It's James, but just did not get the line. Offsides the call. So Favaro with his second helper of the game. And early in period 3, just a minute 45 in. Port Huron with its second goal of this New Year's Eve. Price sends it right in on Werber. This time he catches it, and he drops it off for Tracy. Favaro looking ahead. He'll spin it back for Johnson. Watched by Esposito. Sent up the boards. Anderson couldn't get it out. Esposito swung it all the way across. Craig couldn't get it to the net. He knocked down Favaro. Craig trying to get back to that puck, but Favaro beats him there. Loose puck grabbed by Organ fresh off the bench. Organ wheeling in. Organ, nice move. Couldn't get to the net. Had his stick lifted, but a penalty coming up. Cooper on the bench. The extra attacker out. Blake Anderson has to leave the offensive zone. Delayed offside situation right now. Prowlers content to work the delayed penalty situation. Bucell for Lockney. He's tripped up. That might be a second penalty. Well, there's at least one coming against Port Huron. Or against Indiana, I should say. Prowlers will be going to their 5th power play of the game. They are 1 for 4. And it's Colarusso heading to the box. Here's Lockney as he got tripped up. I don't believe that one is going to get called. They don't call that one, but the first one is up on the board. And the Prowlers power play, which just scored, goes right back to work, hooking the call against Colarusso. And that unit that scored out there right now is Anderson. Almost poked it off of Dawson's stick right in front of the net, or Panovanov's stick, pardon me. Favaro lays it back for Blake Anderson. Anderson works to the outside, head up, looking back towards Hakela. Passes just out of his reach. Hakela down to Price. Indirect feed. Favaro, D to D. Lockhart straight on, deflected. Caught Anderson up high. He gets to that puck, cycles it down to Hakela. Head up, gives it up to Favaro. Back down low. He gave it right to Panovanov. Here comes Dawson shorthanded. They'll just toss it in Cooper's direction. Cooper plays it around behind his net for Favaro. Port Huron starting to change up the unit about halfway through their man advantage. And now Elias takes the puck off the turnover. Elias cuts in, and he scores! second shorthanded goal of the game for the Sentinels, and we're tied up again. Nolan Dawson was able to ride Nick Favaro off the puck, and Lias tucked it in on the backhand. Went right around Reed Cooper. Third goal of the season for Jonas Lias. The Prowlers power play has scored once and given up 2 shorthanded goals. Alex Johnson. Gave it towards Graham. He's double teamed. Johnson up high to Bucell. All the way across, but puck came out of the zone. Another unassisted shorthanded goal for the Sentinels. As Alex Johnson gets past Dalton Anderson. He tossed the puck in. Pazika trying to clear it back out, couldn't. Pazika from a knee gets it over towards Terrain on his backhand. Pitchforks it all the way down, and that should take care of the rest of this Prowlers power play. Federley dangling in. Federley lost it. Shot by Morick over top of the net. James gets it down deep. Port Huron in the midst of a change as Ponovanov reverses, and Pavlov moves ahead. Left wing side, Ponovanov sent it all the way across. Shot from the outside, stopped by Cooper. Up comes Parsons for James. Dumps it into Werber's right. Pavlov chased by DeCumbis. Pavlov makes a move, cuts in, gets into the offensive zone, but offside called against the Sentinels. Power play goal for Port Huron, a shorthanded goal for Indiana, and we're still tied here in period 3.
Hi, what can I get for you?
I'd like some McMorrin fries, please.
All right, that's going to be $4. Okay.
She shoots, she scores with the new Prowlers debit card.
Don't you have somewhere to be? The game's on.
Get your Prowlers debit card only at Flagship Community Federal Credit Union, located on Lapeer Road in Port Huron. Flagship Federal Credit Union is federally insured by the NCUA.
Back here in Indiana. Well, the Prowlers do have a power play goal in this game, but they are a -1 on the power play right now. 2 shorthanded goals for the Indiana Sentinels. Off this face-off. Alex Johnson looks ahead towards Price. Off his stick, puck comes all the way down. Tracy and Anderson chasing after it right here in front of the broadcast booth. Anderson with a steal. Looks towards the net, got it down to DeCumbis. Across Price! Fanned on the shot. This line still forechecking. Price causes a turnover, put it out in front, and Tracy just able to toss it all the way down. This will be an icing. Bobby Price just didn't get good wood on that pass from Vinny DeCumbis. That was another great opportunity for the Prowlers. They'll send out the top line here for this draw. Hippolyte, Smith, and Graham, the two number 51s, will go at it. Graham won the faceoff back. Federley down the wall to Hakala. Lockney to Federley sneaking in from the point. He had his stick tied up. Here comes Esposito. Saucers it over, too far in front of his intended target. Oregon the other direction. Fresh off the bench, Ryersi able to dump it all the way down. No icing here. Parsons wheels ahead. Gets the red line, dumps it in on Werber. Just gets a piece to send it to the corner. Parsons, defenseman, in deep on the forecheck. Graham trying to play around a Sentinel. Pavlov got it up towards Dawson. Ryersi to Dawson, left wing side. Swept it all the way around behind the net. Puck stays along the boards, and Port Huron takes over. Lockhart ahead towards Bork. Got it out of the zone. Pavlov looks to turn right back up. Tossed in by Colazzo. He'll head off for a change. Anderson across to Lockhart. Gets the red line, fires it around. Anderson waiting for it on the other side. Down to Price. Back to Anderson, looking towards the net. Absorbs contact from Jawan Davis. Davis able to skate out of the zone with the puck, but his pass behind Dalton Anderson. Johnson ahead towards Anderson, off his stick. Here comes DeCumbus flying in. DeCumbus makes a move, spins back, tried to put it on goal, and off of Pizzica, right to Terrain. Pizzica ahead to Anderson. Tried to flip it on. Anderson kept the puck in the zone. Sent up to Blake Anderson once more. Here comes Favaro. Fakes the shot. Dangles in. Favaro on the backhand. Rising shot knocked down by Werber. Craig dumped it right in on Cooper, who sticked it off the back glass. Comes back on net. Cooper the save. Left a rebound. And here come the Prowlers. Hakala over towards Bucell. Gets it down deep. Hakala in front. Bucell takes a look and a glove save made by Werber. That might be Werber's best save of the night, as we stare down Jamie Bucell right in front. Under 11 minutes left to go in regulation. That was a golden opportunity for Jamie Bucell. Good pass from Hakala. And Werber down in the splits, able to snag it with that big mitt. And you see Colarusso and James having a conversation. Off this face-off. Pavlov off the boards. Colazzo gave it a head, and it's swept into the zone by Cruz. Sentinels in on the forecheck trying to take this puck. Lockney back to help out. Puck comes to Graham. He goes back and gives it up to Parsons. Lead pass, Bazal looking towards Graham, out of his reach. Graham, though, on the forecheck, able to find the puck. Lockney cycles it down low. Ponovanov ahead to Cruz. Indiana escapes its own end. Colazzo dumps it right in behind the Prowler goal. Lockhart, lead pass, Price tapped it back. Anderson wheeling into the offensive zone. Blake Anderson tried to bank it off of Werber, couldn't catch him. Davis lost it. Anderson played it to an area. Sent on goal, blocked down by Terrain. Joan Davis out of the zone. Walks across the Prowler blue line, lost the puck. Indiana in the midst of a change. Lead passes for Morick. Dumps it in past Colarusso. Tracy and James come together. Colarusso skates ahead. Up to Davis. Cuts in and he's leveled by Bucell. Colarusso dangling to the net. Poked away by Cooper. Puck at the line, shot blocked. Moore couldn't move ahead with it as Tracy with a good play to keep it in the zone. Federle up the boards towards Bucell. Now Hippolyte-Smith gets into the offensive zone, trying to work around Oregon. Federle takes over, and he's dropped by Hippolyte-Smith. Heikkila skates out. Heikkila weaves in with a move, but Pavlov took the puck off his stick. Parsons watched by Esposito. He'll wheel ahead. Parsons with a nice move to the right wing side to Graham. Sends it in off the near side corner boards. Heikkila down the glass. Ponovanov skates ahead. Forced back by Lockney. Ponovanov gets out of his own zone. Gets the red line, gets the Prowler blue. Ponovanov tried a shot that went off a Prowler stick. Craig pushed to the boards. Chip but not out. Parsons able to get it over to Lockhart. Long feed, grabbed by Anderson. Blake Anderson skates in. Lockney from a sharp angle. Looking for a passing option. To the point, Favaro. Down the wall, sent it across to Cumbus. Stopped by Werber sliding across. Net came off its mooring, so we'll get a whistle. Vinny DeCumbus was hanging out all by himself on the back door. Nick Favaro found him, but John Werber with another big save. He keeps it 2-2 in period 3. We should be taking a timeout here on the PHP network. And now the referees recognize it. There's the stop from Werber. DeCumbus just unable to elevate that puck. And he had to settle it down for a moment too. And that gave Werber a chance to slide over. We'll take a break here on the PHP network.
Discover everything banking should be with Advia Credit Union, like earning real financial advantages. You can earn up to $1,000 with your new account. Plus, save an average of nearly $4,000 in interest when refinancing. Get started with a low-rate credit card balance transfer. Enjoy easy access to your money anytime, anywhere. Make the switch today at adviacu.org/real people. Advia Credit Union. Real advantages for real people.
Back here in Indiana, and the physicality continued to pick up as Jamie Bucell caught Jawan Davis cutting across the middle of the ice. A big Oma's ice hit in the neutral zone. And then the Prowlers end, Austin Federle ridden down by Noah Hippolyte-Smith. But at the end of all that, Vinny DeCumbus just had to settle that puck down for a moment. Gave Werber a chance to slide over, and DeCumbus couldn't elevate it. And Werber with another big save in this third period to keep it tied. Off this face-off, Anderson gets it back to the line. Johnson, a wrister deflected wide. Dawson, rink wide feed, nobody home there. Bucell dumps it right back around. Pazika chips it around, and Anderson steps in front of Davis. Anderson's pass to the middle, missed by Bucell. Bucell with it now. Johnson, wrister, didn't get all the way through, poked at, and Terrain has it behind the net. Now Dawson. Davis out to Pazika. Gets the blue line, gets the red, and throws it right in on Cooper. But they blow it dead for offside at the Prowler line. Well, the Prowlers are on the ice, so grab a shot of Proper 12 Irish Whiskey. Proper 12, the official shot of the Port Huron Prowlers. Please drink responsibly. Maybe you're enjoying some proper 12 during this New Year's Eve. We're about 2 hours away from midnight, and the calendar flipping to 2026. Tim Morgan looking to go ahead to Graham. These teams still locked in a tight battle as Oregon tosses it in deep. Tracy took a hit from Hakela. Popped out to an area. Oregon dragged, shoots, gloved by Werber. Face off deep in the Sentinel zone, but good puck retrieval again by the Prowlers. And they again like to go with a shot from up high. And Tim Morgan with an opportunity there from about the high slot. Morick snapped the face-off back. Lockhart to James on the outside. Down to Bazal. Up high it goes. Lockhart, D to D. Parsons wrists it through. Stopped by Werber. And he left no rebound, but the Prowlers were searching for one. Esposito tipped over, and now he wants after Morick. Brian Parsons not happy with Ethan Esposito. You may have been able to hear Parsons barking at Esposito. We do apologize if any profanity did make it on the PHP network tonight, as we do have our mic, again, right here at ice level because we are at ice level. But we hope you're enjoying the action in the small building here in Columbus, Indiana. Pavlov chipped the puck by Johnson, gets to the net, save Cooper. Puck popped up in the air, landed in front of Reed Cooper, and Price knocks it off the glass and out. Blake Anderson back in. Anderson lost the handle. Up comes Esposito. One-on-one. Esposito, outside try, and Cooper's got that handled. And a whistle and a face-off all the way down in Port Huron territory. Under 6 to go. Each team with a goal in this third period. It's 2-all. Off the face-off, push to the line. Pazika sends it right back down where it came from. Karam's all the way to the near side. Lockney got it there. Graham chips it ahead to Hakela. Working in, Hakela shot over top of the net. Missed on the short side. Terrain all the way out. Craig working on Federley. Drops it off. Dawson back down to Craig. Trying to wrap. And Cooper slid the right pad over to make the save. Whistles blow. I believe the net may have come off there as Craig was wrapping it around, but Reed Cooper with a big stop with that right pad. Big Denver Craig has, with the long reach, looking to get himself on the board in this game. This one tossed high and out. Davis sidestepped a couple of checks. Davis has the puck back, sharp angle try. Cooper got a piece of it. Federley keeps the puck moving. Bazal couldn't get it out. James able to work it out of the zone. Got it across to Bucell. Now towards Bazal. Anderson got it up high, and then a drive from Lockhart missed wide. Parsons back down deep. Bucell with his head up. Gets it to the point to Parsons. D to D. Lockhart off a stick. And up out of play. We'll take our final timeout. Under 5 to go in a tie hockey game, the final one in 2025 for these two teams. You will come out with a W before the fireworks. That looks like London, if I'm not mistaken. We'll be right back here on the PHP Network.
Discover 1195 Gastropub in Marysville. Burgers, pizzas, apps, and pub favorites like filet mignon and grilled salmon. Open Monday to Friday, 4 to 9 p.m., weekends 12 to 9 p.m. Join us for happy hour, Monday to Thursday. Enjoy half-off bottles of wine every Wednesday, and don't miss Thirsty Thursday with $4 draft beers. Great food, cold drinks, good times. That's 1195 Gastro Pub.
It's time to wake up on the sunrise side of Michigan. Wake up to beautiful beaches. Wake up to vibrant urban landscapes. Wake up to unique eats. Wake up to charming coastal towns. Wake up to cozy entertainment. Wake up to Michigan's Thumb Coast. Plan your perfect wake-up call using bluewater.org.
We invite you to tune in to our next broadcast. That will be on Friday, January the 2nd, when the Prowlers host the Indiana Sentinels for their first game of 2026. Puck drop scheduled for 7:05 p.m. Pregame show starts at 6:50. It's all right here on the PHP Network. But we hope to see you at McMorran Place for that one. Be in the building for the first game of 2026 and get there early. If you're 21 and older, you can go home with a free Prowler jersey. Anderson, back pass in front, save, Werber onto Cumbus. Bavaro sends it back down deep. Anderson and Elias cancel out. Anderson gets to the puck, tried to sweep it out in front. Price swung and missed. Esposito got the puck in deep behind the play. Blake Anderson has stick lifted out of his hands. Here come the Prowlers. They stretch it on looking for Anderson. No icing here. So Anderson and Tracy come together. Hard hit there from Anderson. 3 Sentinels in there. Graham comes out with the puck. Oregon working down the boards. Anderson cycles it down behind the net. Lockney behind the cage. Looking out in front. Backdoor feed looking for Oregon. And Tracy got his stick on it. Lockney up high, Federley. All the way through, deflected, but didn't get through to Werber. Graham turns around, goes the other way. Federley walks the blue line. Wrist shot popped high up in the air. And Craig exits the defensive zone. Had his shot scooped up by Cooper, and then Craig knocked down by Graham. It looked like he was slipping and falling as Graham went to push him. So it ended up looking worse than the intention was. I think Graham was just trying to stop Denver Craig, but Craig lost his balance as that happened, and Everett Thompson wants a penalty. I don't think he's going to get one. Watch as Graham turns around. Craig starts to lose his balance, and Graham's stick comes up a lot higher than intended. And now Everett Thompson might get a penalty. He's getting a warning from the referee. But again, if Craig doesn't slip, that is a routine player pushing and shoving. But Craig did start to fall, and I think that's the reason why they did not call that a penalty. Fans here don't like it. They'll continue to watch 5-on-5 play as James pitches it to the outside. Bazal shot changed direction on the way through, but missed wide. Terrain up to Dawson. He'll wrap it all the way around. Lockhart couldn't keep it moving. Battled for, and here comes Brett Lockhart. Ahead to Bazal. Drops it off Bucell. Lockhart once more. Throws on the brakes. That drew his team off sides, but he never entered the offensive zone. But we do have a penalty coming up. Reed Cooper was going to the bench. It looks like both Brian Parsons and Jawan Davis are going to the penalty boxes here. They bark at each other in the sin bins, and we try and figure out what the heck is going on. Reed Cooper was heading to the bench. Not sure where the original penalty occurred. maybe it was behind the play right in front of the Prowler bench as those two were trailing the puck and heading up ice. Well, we'll get 4-on-4 action for 2 minutes of the 2:45 remaining in regulation. Favaro able to chip it in, or at least to the blue line. Now Anderson skates with it. Anderson fanned on the shot. Pavlov lost it to Anderson. So able to sweep it back to his defense. Johnson curling back away from Hippolyte-Smith. Here comes Blake Anderson right up the gut. Anderson dances through from his stomach. Couldn't get a shot away. He gets the puck back as he gets to his skates. Looking for Price. Pavlov cut that off. And he just slides it to Prowler ice. Favaro to an area for Hakela. In for Bucell. Now Favaro rip. Stopped by Werber. Well-worked play there by the Prowlers, and John Werber able to come up with another big stop. This time against Nick Favaro. We're still tied with under 2 to go. Face-off will be to Werber's left. And off the draw, Graham pushed it back. Here comes Federley walking in, forced back to the blue line. And then his pass over to Oregon popped up in the air, and that forced the play out. Federley back for Lockney. He has a late game winner this season. Let's see what he can do here. Lockney around the net. Trying to get that puck to settle down. Graham in front, and that one cut off. Sentinels working in. And now here comes Lockney, sidesteps most of a check. Oregon spins back, 13 seconds left to go in the 4-on-4. They apologize for the brief computer issues or the brief technical difficulties. Here comes Indiana in the final minute. Esposito cutting to the middle. Couldn't get a shot away. Both teams back to full strength. 5-on-5, 35 seconds to go. Davis's shot on net, swallowed up by Reed Cooper. And we will get a whistle and a chance to breathe. Stick around for the post-game show here on the PHP Network. We will go around the Empire and look at behind the eyes. We do not have anyone back in studio to take over the post-game show while we're going to get the word from our coaching staff and our player of the game. So you'll be entertained by those until we get our locker room reaction. So again, be sure to watch that coming up later here on the PHP Network. Puck comes around the net. Craig hands it off for Ponovanov. Rister goes wide. Craig picks it up on the other side. He's pinned to the boards. Prowlers able to get it out. It will not have enough for icing. 9 seconds left to go in regulation. Lockney waits. Tried to slide across to Hakela. Here's Ponovanov with 2, with 1. Trying to pass across. And there's a shot after the whistle. Morik goes right after the Sentinel. We will get overtime for the first time this season. Everybody separated. We will head to overtime. Coming up next here on the PHP Network for the first time this season.
Welcome to the new era of Prowlers hockey. New owner, new store, new horn, fire, projectors on the ice. Yeah, this isn't your dad's McMorrin experience. This is Prowlers hockey. Get your tickets for the show now at phprowlers.com/tickets.
Keep up with your Prowlers all season long on social media. Follow us on Facebook at the Port Huron Prowlers, Instagram at PH Prowlers, and Twitter at PH Prowlers. And you can find more information on our website, phprowlers.com.
First overtime of the season in game number 27 for the Port Huron Prowlers. They almost got halfway through, but not fully halfway. And you see the records there for games that have ended in overtime. Sentinels 0-2 as Jawan Davis is being asked to leave. He took a shot right at the end of regulation. So his night is over. Nothing has gone up on the board quite yet. But what a game this has been. John Werber and Reed Cooper have been battling it out here. Davis gets 2 for unsportsmanlike conduct. That is what's come down on my screen right now. And if And now teams will switch ends to take a look at the Prowler bench. Reed Cooper will come on down to my side. And John Werber will head down to the other side for the first 5-minute overtime of this season for the Port Huron Prowlers. Discussion still being had in front of the penalty boxes, and potential for a Prowlers power play to begin the extra session. Maybe Port Huron might want to decline that, as they've given up 2 shorthanded goals to Indiana in this game. It's the only way the Sentinels have scored has been shorthanded. James Ryerson has taken a seat in the Indiana penalty box. Nothing has gone up on the board yet. Davis also got a 10-minute misconduct for a lewd/inappropriate gesture, which I missed, but that likely means supplemental discipline, which would affect his eligibility for the games this weekend. Indeed, a Prowlers power play here. Prowlers have Graham, Anderson, Federley, and Price. Not sure what's going on here over at the scores table. Looks like they figured everything out. Everett Thompson still upset over on the Sentinels bench. There are 2 minutes up for Jawan Davis on the big board. And now a 5th Prowler has hit the ice. Actually, Port Huron, looks like it's... Yes, now there are 5 Prowlers on the ice, and another Sentinel has gone into the penalty box. Everett Thompson may have gotten himself another penalty. A 5-on-3 for Port Huron in overtime for the full 2 minutes. And how's this for an opportunity? Alex Johnson wheels ahead. Off to Graham. Graham behind the net. Now moved up high to Price. The Sentinels camera has stopped moving. Here's Price down to the corner, trying to get Aiden on it. Johnson across, one-timer Lockney, stopped by Werber. Johnson settles the puck down. Price, curl and drag shot, blocked wide. Graham scores! Matt Graham in overtime has won it on New Year's Eve, and we're not done with the penalty minutes. A Sentinel shot the puck right down the ice, and the Prowlers went after him. But Matt Graham is the OT hero the first time the Prowlers visit Columbus. And now the whole Sentinels bench has emptied to get involved, and this could get dangerous. Everybody kind of getting involved here. Teams are nose to nose. Referees trying to keep the peace. Prowlers are going to 2026 with a win. Let's take another look on Aiden Vision as the shot from the point went wide, and Graham from a sharp angle able to fire it home. 13th of the year for Graham, and the Prowlers get it done in their first overtime of the season. Just an hour and 42 minutes before midnight now. And Port Huron with 2 more points to take into 2026. And boy, do we have a lot to figure out here. I'm sure there will be more penalty minutes that come down here at the end of this. Fans serenading the men in stripes here as the Prowlers get set for their usual prayer circle. Sentinels are being waved over to their dressing room. That's 5 wins in a row for the Port Huron Prowlers. Sentinels are still standing at the red line. Everett Thompson barking down to the Prowler bench. Alex Johnson's come all the way out of the locker room without his shoulder pads, and he is having a word with Austin Federley. You talk about not being done. Austin Federley there waving to the Sentinels and wishing them a nice trip up to Port Huron this weekend. And goal officially signaled here, which I don't know why that was in doubt. Sentinels saluting their fans, and we may have a full-on rivalry brewing here between the two Midwestern teams in the FPHL. Don't forget, these teams will face each other Friday and Saturday at McMorran Place. You can get a front row seat to that by getting your tickets at phprowlers.com/tickets. And after all of that, everybody will join the prayer circle at center ice together as cooler heads prevail and break into prayer. Once again, coming up on the post-game report here on the PHP Network. Again, we do not have anyone back in studio on the mic, so we will go with Around the Empire and Behind the Eyes. So in case you missed our latest episode, Behind the Eyes, on Saturday, you get a chance to see that. While you're waiting to get locker room reaction from this one. And, of course, again, we'll hear from Prowler Associate Head Coach Chris Paul, as well as our Gunther Graphics Player of the Game. Before I step off and head over to get those interviews, let's take a look at the final stats from this one. A 3-2 OT win for the Port Huron Prowlers. They go 1 for 7 on the power play, and they end up with 2 power play goals, as that one from Graham, a 5-on-3 power play goal, and they will head into 2026 winners of 5 games in a row. That might not be Port Huron, Michigan, but that's how Prowlers fans feel inside. A full fireworks show as their Prowlers win it tonight in overtime by a final of 3-2. Post-game show and locker room reaction coming up later and next here on the PHP Network.
Are you sick of asking somebody else to live your own life? I'm Josh with the Franchise Guys. If you're ready to quit your job or build your empire, I'll help you trim down my 800 franchise brand partnerships down to a few that fit you, fit your goals, and fit your budget. With options from senior care to airplane detailing, there's an opportunity for you. Owning a franchise can have up to a 90% success rate. That's better than job security. With the systems and support of a franchise, you won't be making all those costly mistakes as you would if you started your own business from scratch. And with options as low as $6,000 to get your own job-replacing business, there's no better option for you than to book a free call with me and my team. Visit GoFranchiseGuys.com. Stop dreaming about a better life and go live it.
This isn't working. LJ, pass me those flyers. No look behind the back pass. It's a whole play. LJ, come on. Gap up. Close the gap. Close the gap. What do we say? This isn't working. We need a shift change. Let's bring in the professionals.
Yeah, I don't know about this one, fellas.
Boys, we don't overcome adversity by backing down. But yeah, I don't know about this one.
That's reassuring.
We're so screwed.
All right, boys. Here's the game plan. LJ, you start with bananas.
Wait, why do I have to do the bananas?
Because you're the softest on the team.
I don't want the bananas.
This thing is gonna melt. We gotta hurry up.
I won't do it.
Okay, both of you. I will do the bananas and the whipped cream. Fets, please continue.
Who's paying for this anyway?
I am. I just bought my tickets for the Prowlers game this weekend, and the Milkhouse gave me 25% off my order.
Fets, why'd you buy the tickets? You're literally on the team.
For the discount.
So are you all ready to give it a try?
Oh, we're ready.
It's true. Get 25% off your entire order at the Milkhouse, October through April. Simply show your ticket stubs at checkout and enjoy your discounted treat.
Hey guys, what's going on?
Hi guys, we just stopped at Industrial Park Marathon to get some fuel and some snacks before the Prowlers game at McMorran.
Nice. Yeah, we just stopped by here at Industrial Park Marathon so I can get a Slurpee before the game.
Wait till after the game. If the Prowlers score 3 or more goals, Slurpees will be free.
Thanks for the info. I'm going to get my Slurpee after, but we'll see you at the Prowlers game.
See you at the game. Go Prowlers!
It has been a ton of fun. Every day goes by in the blink of an eye. We're on the ice, off the ice, back on the ice, off the ice, and it's not only been great skating, but it's been a blast being around all the guys, just making a lot of new friends, so it's been a great opportunity.
It's been tough. I think this is one of the hardest training camps that we've had here, which is good because we'll be more prepared than we've ever been. I think that's just a testament to our strides over the last, I'd say, 4 years after Matt took over. I think we're just getting more prepared every day and every year. Last year, I was put in a lot of spots that I've never been put in before, leading people. Just the different situations on the ice, off the ice, away from the rink. I think it takes a lot of humility and being humble and knowing that, just to see everybody for who they are, not correcting all of their wrongs, even, when I think they're wrong. So honestly, they have taught me more about myself than I've taught them probably, but I think it just takes a whole group right now to start the season, and then I'll be able to lead more towards the back end of it. But right now, it's about the guys.
Something I think about a lot wherever I go to play hockey is trying to leave wherever I go better than I found it. And I think of a program like Dubuque is a new one, so of course I wanted to conduct myself with as much professionalism and leadership as I could there, but that's no different than being here in an organization that's been around and established for a while. I think that just wherever you go, trying to lead, no matter how old you are, no matter how established you are, leading with character and trying to leave the locker room, the rink, your teammates, staff better than the way you found it is a really important trait.
Yeah, it's been really competitive. The biggest thing is we've done a lot of conditioning. This is probably one of the hardest training camps we've had. It's good. It's good to see guys competing and battling with each other. That's kind of been the theme and what we're trying to drive out of everyone out here. So it's been pretty good so far, and looking forward to getting started and getting into a routine next week. I mean, we've been going hard, for a few days now, twice a day. Battling, competing, conditioning, doing a lot of stuff like that. So, we talked as a staff and felt that time would be better spent, going over video, letting the guys recover a little bit, rather than continuing to drive them into the ground. We made the decision to transition the skate to video, and we'll try to get more out of that and get a mental sweat in.
You have 25 seconds to get from this line down to the goal line, and then you have the rest of the minute to get back to the original start. After 10 rounds, it starts getting faster. 11th round, you have 24 seconds to get down, 36 to get back. 12th round, 23 down, 37 back, and so on. And we're going all the way down to 15 seconds. The ways you don't make it or don't pass, you quit, for one, stop running. You don't touch a line in time. So the way Will's gonna do it is 24, 25, 26. When he says 26, whoever's not done is gonna mark it off. Now it's very important, and the expectation is you do not quit, right? So if you don't pass one round, that doesn't mean you can't pass the next round. Catch up, all right? So this works on obviously the conditioning. It obviously works on like mental focus, because your mind's gonna play tricks with you as it starts to get quicker. And also you can crush the test, but if you lose focus, you might miss a line or might not time it correctly. So focus. And then obviously it's all about team. So we have 11 guys going and 11 guys getting rowdy for it. All right, the goal is for everyone to pass. So it's very important to think more than just about yourself. When you're not going, you're getting the boys going, helping them pass.
Let's go, come on. Let's go. There we go, boys! There we go! There we go, boys!
Danbury isn't doing this.
Hey, thanks for the push, fellas. Everything's about bringing us together as a group, right? And that teaches you to take the focus off yourself, put it on your teammates, because we're only as strong as each other, right? It's a great job, Fetz. Take us down here.
Yeah. Let's go. Let's go, boys. All right, 11s.
Hey, that's the first week. Now the real work starts, hey? Dan Mary in less than a week. Plant the flag back in there. Yeah. Who's on 3? 1, 2, 3.
Nice, boy.
Hey, real quick.
Thanks. We're filming it? Nice, I hope I win big.
If you do win the jackpot, though, the rule is that you have to pay for my wedding.
Yeah. Thanks, man. Definitely.
You should have put an ice.
Come here.
Come on.
He said yes. Got that.
Hockey is like a business. One missed pass can derail the perfect plan. Have Taft Consulting help you get your whole team on the same page. They have the expertise to help you follow through on all your goals. Find out how they can help you today by emailing taftconsulting@outlook.com.
What's more authentic than a Hungry Howie's Detroit-style pizza? Nothing. We're not playing around with the pizza of our birthplace. Thick crust, cheese to the edge, sauce on the top. Where it belongs. We've seen a lot of fakes out there. Not here. This is authentic Detroit-style pizza. Order yours now online for $12.99. We sauce the top and rep for the 313 everywhere. We do bold. Hungry Howie's!
SMR Automotive Systems is part of the Motherson Group and a proud community sponsor of the Port Huron Prowlers. We are one of the largest manufacturers of rearview mirrors for passenger vehicles in the world, with local plants in Port Huron and Marysville. We strive to support our local communities and have positions available for various abilities and experience. Find out more about who we are at smr-automotive.com.
Hello, I'm home.
There he is.
What is happening?
Relax. We won. They brought back the snack wrap. Spicy or ranch?
Spicy.
Yeah, go. Yeah. Just one little bite. Can you stop? Oh, sorry.
Gather your crew. The snack wrap is back.
Well, welcome back here in Columbus, Indiana, one final time as the Prowlers take down the Sentinels by a score of 3-2 in overtime. As we just got our coaches' interviews, we're getting those set up for you right now. I do want to, give giant thank yous to everyone, and again, a happy New Year's Eve for everyone who's tuning in here tonight. Thank you so much for spending some of your time with us here on the PHP Network. But first, let's hear from Prowlers Associate Head Coach Chris Paulin. I'm with Prowlers Associate Head Coach Chris Paulin for the Schultz Roofing Coaches interview following a 3-2 overtime win over the Indiana Sentinels. Coach, you finally made it to overtime this season. How'd it go, and how'd you guys draw that up with all the stuff that went on at the end of regulation?
Yeah, I mean, practices have been pretty limited with our schedule lately, but we did work on the 5-on-3 quite a bit on Tuesday yesterday. And I thought those guys made a heck of a play. We got a good look, couldn't score on it. And then there was a little bit of chaos. We were able to get a puck. And when 51 gets the puck around the net, usually good things happen. So did a heck of a job.
Can you tell us at all what happened at the end there of regulation? Did you get like an explanation?
Yeah, I mean, this turned into a pretty decent rivalry here, and a lot of bad blood, chippy game both ways, and then puck, a good maybe 1-2 seconds after the horn sounds, they shoot a puck, our goalie stops playing, hits him high, neck, collarbone area, and boys stood up for each other, And I said that in the post game here. Really proud of our guys. They stood up for each other, and I think that was just the way the hockey world works. We end up on a power play. Their coach, he was thrown out of the game last weekend, I believe, or 2 weekends ago. He got a warning earlier in the game. That didn't stop him or give him any pause to continue berating the officials. Unfortunately for us, they called it. They had to. He put him in kind of a bind there. So we end up 5-on-3, and then. Like I said, 51 knows what to do in those situations. So
now in the 5-on-4s, obviously they get a couple goals shorthanded. What was it that was giving you guys a little trouble?
Timing was not good. And some puck handling that wasn't very good. But we're going to address it. We have a bus ride here. Tomorrow we'll be able to cut the video, make sure the timing is much better. As we have a really good plan to get through the middle of the ice, but the timing is messed up. That kind of derails the plan, and then if your puck bounces on you, and they got a couple shorthanded looks there, but I don't know if you're going to ask about it, but our goaltender played a heck of a game for us. They were throwing a lot of pucks at him, looking to create second opportunities. They were few and far between, and when he did give up a second opportunity, he made some pretty dynamic rebound saves. Also, I don't know if you're going to ask about this either, but the 5-on-3 for 2 minutes, gutty performance by those guys going out there, getting a job done. 2 minutes is a long time to kill a 5-on-3. I mean, they got to about 40 seconds in overtime, but we killed a 2-minute 5-on-3 penalty, and we did it with absolute effort. These guys were, I thought the rotations were good, not great, but the effort made up for it. These guys battled their rear ends off, and I'm really proud of the effort.
Wow, I don't even think you need me anymore. I'm just going to say Schultz Roofing Coaches interview and hand you the mic, and you ask yourself the questions.
Listen, Will, I was getting that sense that the questions were running out, and I needed to make sure I mentioned those guys and give them a shout-out. So you do a great job. I just need to make sure I give those guys a shout-out.
Coach, enjoy the final hour and a half you have of 2025, and we'll see you in 2026.
You too, buddy. Hey. This guy right here, Happy New Year to Wiggles. Wiggles is the man that makes it happen. And the guy holding the camera, Aiden, these guys put so much effort in, so many hours into what they do. We wouldn't be here without them. So huge shout out to you guys. I know you don't like compliments. I'm giving you one anyway, buddy. Take it easy, guys.
That's your Schultz Roofing coach interview after a 3-2 win over the Sentinels. And that was, again, Prowlers Associate Head Coach Chris Paulin following that 3-2 win. Hopefully he has another hour and a half or so of his 2025. And again, I want to echo his sentiment. Thank you to everyone, who's tuning in, everyone who worked so hard tonight, who spent part of their New Year's Eve helping us out and making sure this broadcast went well. We also heard from the Prowlers head coach, who also happened to be the overtime hero, Matt Graham. I'm with the overtime hero, Matt Graham, after the 3-2 win over the Indiana Sentinels. First time in overtime this season. Did you guys forget how to play in OT, or you knew what you were doing?
Yeah, no, it's exciting when you go to overtime. It's always nerve-wracking a little bit. I think we had quite a few overtime games last year, so just draw off that experience a little bit, and then being on a 5-on-3 power play, it's just a lot more time and space out there, so that helped out a lot.
Yeah, take us through that goal in OT.
It was a crazy play, kind of. Actually told Lockney in warm-ups that the glass and the boards on the back wall are pretty lively. So we're trying to get the looks that we're looking for. Locks and I win a battle in the corner. We go up top, come across to Bobby. Bobby comes downhill, takes a shot. I think it goes off the back wall, and then goalie just couldn't reset in time. It popped all the way back out in front, and I was able to find time and space to just throw it behind him right there. So,
and then, going into this weekend, after everything that happened there at the end, if you kind of talk through what happened there at the end after you score as much as and then, how is this rivalry kind of heated up with these guys?
Yeah, it's intense. Obviously, they're much improved from the beginning of the season. They play everyone tight night in, night out. So, it's always going to be a battle and always going to be a game when you play these guys. The rivalry and the intensity has really hit a new level, I'd say. We've been disciplined over the last few games for sure, so I think that's helped us out a lot. It's physical, it's in-your-face hockey, and then at the end, obviously, I don't know, just undisciplined stuff, throwing pucks at guys, and then trying to mix it up once the game's over. I mean, that's kind of stuff. They want to be tough guys. Let's be tough guys during the first 60 minutes and 41 seconds of the game. So it's unfortunate that it takes the buzzer going for them to do that, but we're good for whatever. So.
as your Gunther Graphics player of the game. Gunther Graphics, your go-to guy for logos, websites, and branding. Enjoy the rest of your 2025.
Thank you. You too.
And that was Matt Graham, the OT hero tonight. The 5-on-3 power play goal in overtime. Prowlers take the extra point. They've won 5 in a row. They're up to 47 points this season. Well, we have another broadcast coming up on Friday. I want you to tune into that. If you can't make it to McMorran Place, but if you can make it to McMorran Place, be sure to come out there and come say hi. 7:05 puck drop, 6:50 pregame show here on the PHP Network. But again, make sure you head out to McMorran Place because that will be the place to be on Friday, January the 2nd and Saturday, January the 3rd. So the Prowlers and Sentinels will continue on with their series this week. And if you thought there was some rough stuff at the end of this game, well, I'm sure that will carry over into these games on Friday and Saturday. There were a couple of penalties handed out, at least 2 that went down on my sheet after the goal from Graham. Noah Hippolyte-Smith got 2 minutes for unsportsmanlike conduct, and Everett Thompson got a game misconduct for inciting by a coach/team staff. So there's a chance that Everett Thompson will not be in the building when the Prowlers host the Sentinels, at least on Friday, and maybe even on Saturday as well. But we will find that out probably tomorrow, the 1st of January 2026. Enjoy the rest of your 2025, about an hour, 15 minutes left of that. But thank you to Christian Jackson, our technical director, for heading up the show. Sean Detfay was running the graphics, and Aiden Bricker saved the day here in Indiana so that you guys were able to see that OT winner. So shout out to the entire crew. Shout out to the whole crew who's been working with us all season long, and we will see them all again in 2026. We hope to see you there as well. But for now, I'm Will Wiggleman saying have a great rest of your New Year's Eve, and we will see you next time here on the PHP Network.